banging. I'm joined by my co-host, the 20-time champion, the 2-time world champion, the one and only Mr. Patty P, a legend in the Call of Duty scene. Give it up for Rakes. And then we also got the executive producer. You guys all know who he is, a staple. My friend, my companion, my duo, Mr. Benji and Asim. Gentlemen, how we doing today? Everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
Doing good.
I feel like $1 million.
I just love when a prediction just goes on point. You know what I mean, Tom? I
Pat,
love
you're
being
so
right.
smart. You're so smart, Pat. You know everything.
Pat is just excited he can have to get a tattoo today.
Tattoo on his ass.
There was never a doubt. There was never a doubt.
Can you imagine, Pat actually, who just got a tattoo? Somebody just got a tattoo on their ass.
Swag.
Oh, yeah,
got
Face
the
Swag.
Raven logo.
Yeah, Face Swag. And why did he get that again? What?
They added loadouts back.
Oh, so he actually got it tattooed on his ass. That's crazy. That is fucking, dude, Face
And
Swag.
it was big, too.
Fucking Swag is crazy, bro. He's fucking nuts. But today, we had 3 matches today, and honestly, they were pretty good matches. I think for the most part, we got all our predictions right? We were all right, I think, on our predictions. So not really too many surprises here today, ladies and gentlemen. But we're definitely gonna hop right into it and talk about some of these matches. So let's switch on over and start off with the first match. We got Seattle Surge going up against the London Royal Ravens. We got a Tuscan Hardpoint, Berlin S&D, Gavitu Control, which we saw 3 times today. I think everybody played Gavitu Control. Gavitu Hardpoint and Bow Cage S&D. We'll kick things off with you guys. Anything that catches your eye in the vetoes?
Bro, everybody's shook to play London on Berlin Hardpoint, man.
It's their best map, right?
Yes, but that was early on. Like, you know, I'm curious if someone's now going to dangle this. Maybe FaZe, and we'll get to the sort of the bracket later. Like, I don't know. It might be a square up time for them and see kind of, they haven't played a while in a real match and see if they're still stacking up on that map. That's my only kind of thought about the veto.
I don't care about who London is or who Seattle is playing today, right? I don't care. I said it right after the kickoff classic. This Seattle team was overhyped. Period.
You did
They
say
were
that.
Overhyped. They obviously performed great at that kickoff, but their wins in this stage so far were close as fuck. They had multiple Game 5, Round 11 victories. And other than that, they're getting smoked.
Well, I think, Pat, what do you think? You think people are they're just catching up to them now? That's probably what it is.
It's 2 things. I think, one, they were definitely ahead. Coaches, players, they were ahead in kind of all game modes. But aside from other teams getting better, I don't think you could keep Sib having a 1.5 every series and Pred playing consistent as fuck in the role that he's playing. That just doesn't last. Like, bro, he was frying. Like, we had him labeled as the best player in the game. He was like legit 1.5 every series, shitting on people. And like, it's impossible to keep that up. So, you know, when they don't have that performance coming out of those 2 superstars, and you saw it by their stat line today, like Lamar was frying. Lamar was their best player today. And if this team has to rely on Lamar being their best player, there's just no success coming their way. So I think they were overhyped, and I think unless Sib and Pred can get back to that form and stay at that form, this team is not a top 4 S tier team. Period.
Here's my thoughts. I don't think I'm as strong as you on saying that they're overhyped. I think they're definitely in a valley situation right now. The respawn does not look as good as it did during Kickoff Classic, and I know that the casters kind of at the end of this series are like, well, as other teams kind of caught up to them, I think that's pretty much kind of where it's at. But look, you know, they got a week and a half to figure it out. They're still on the winner's side of the bracket. They've got a chance here to kind of come a little bit stronger into Major 1, but they're not the dominant team that we thought we saw at Kickoff Classic, and they were going to carry this major.
You thought, and maybe some fans thought.
I
didn't think that.
That was a pretty popular opinion with the people.
No, I called it.
I'm gonna actually go against to what you're saying, Pat, and I'm gonna say I don't think they're underrated. I think they might have been or overrated. Excuse me. They might be a little overrated, but I don't think they're as bad as you think they are. I mean, I think Seattle.
I think they're a 5 through 8. 5 through 8 team.
I think this team can definitely has potential to stay at the top. I just think right now they're not slaying like they were in the beginning of the game, and I think teams are catching up to them. But we know their skill ceiling. We know how good these guys actually are. Dante struggled the last couple series. I mean, Sib has been struggling the last couple series. Lamar, I feel Lamar's always going to be solid because he just plays the fundamentals right and he does what he has to do. But you want to see Mac, Pred, and Sib just kind of get back to that form that they were at in the beginning of the year. And I think they're young players, and I think sometimes they're going to have a lot of ups and downs. But after a couple bad series and stuff like that, I don't want to just automatically just chalk them up. Like, I definitely want to give them some more time. They're a young team. So they're gonna have a lot of inconsistencies. So
I'm not chalking up their ceiling, Tom. I think I agree with you. They do have a high ceiling. I just don't think they can play at that level consistently, which makes me kind of, look at the other teams who can play at that level consistently. Yeah, it knocks them out of the top 4 for me.
Yeah, I feel like that, Pat. Also, make sure because you got the new mic, make sure you're kind of like speaking directly.
Oh yeah, Patty P with a new mic, ladies and gentlemen.
You got it. It's super directional. But anyway, we can talk about that off stream. But to your point, like I think I agree with you. I think like this roster's got a high ceiling. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. They're going to have a couple of majors where they get smoked. But I really like what we've seen from them so far, especially in S&D. Amongst all the respawn struggles, they've still been solid in that game mode. If they can kind of just get hot at the respawns at the right time, they're going to be valid and potentially win one of these majors. So I'm not panicking yet on the Seattle team. They're going through a tough couple of weeks, but they've got some time now between the majors.
I understand what Pat's saying. I just think right now, I like you said, Ben, I don't want to panic because of like, a couple bad series here or there. I think right now they just have to go back to the drawing board and just make sure they really start to hound on the mistakes that they're making in game. I mean, London right now, they just had such a hot start to this map. Afro, we saw Afro piecing up in that Churchill, by the way, which, dude, this guy Afro can play. This whole London team can play. We could talk about Seattle struggles all we want, but this London team is a scary sight going into this major. These guys have been performing a lot on a consistent level. I feel like they're just getting better and better every time I see them, especially Afro. I feel like Afro was making plays today.
I think they're hyper aggressive, and when they play other hyper aggressive teams, they're really good at matching pace. The one series that they struggled against with though is LAG, who are a little bit more structured team. So that's my only question about London. When things get a little bit more slower, they play a team that's pretty disciplined. Are they going to be able to kind of match that play style? Or are they just going to be running into L triggers and getting smoked? That's still an open question to me.
Well, last time they went to LAN, they struggled, right? Didn't they struggle last time on LAN?
This is a big testament to how good this London team is, how good they do on LAN. Because that's what we haven't seen out of them, right? Like, they're obviously all nasty and they've performed great online.
Nasty, no pun intended, but
right, exactly. But we need to see it on LAN, and then that's kind of when we.
But majority of the time, I feel like if you're good online, you're good online. Majority of the time, not all the time. We've had some.
It's interesting, right? Because they got 3-0 smoked. Obviously, it's the kickoff classic, so we're not taking too much from it. But they got smoked out the arena and went home, and then came online and were this dominant squad. So
it was the kickoff classic. Yeah, it was early.
That's what I'm saying. We're not putting too much, kind of weight into it, but it's something to keep an eye on and something we want to see from them, right? To see them perform the same way on LAN.
Yeah, no,
I agree. And again, there's another team like Seattle that will go peaks and valleys like every other COD team, and you got to give them a long runway to really see where they net out in terms of a high floor. But again, another team where like really good team composition, love their system. It's really entertaining to watch. They've had some amazing victories in this major. They got an interesting match coming up in the bracket we'll talk about later today, but great win out of them today, and they started out pretty hot in this first map.
Well, I was going to say that. That's exactly what I was just about to go into. Bro, the breakoffs are really important in this game. Like, teams really need to focus on their breakoffs because you can go up early really fast, and then it's Vanguard. You just stay ahead of the game, just making sure you're trading rotations, going back and forth on rotations, and keeping hills mixy. London was in full control for this whole game because they came out and started so strong. I think they got a lot of time on P1. They got a good rotation over to P2. They split time over there, and they were just able to hold on to this lead for majority of the game. So I feel like teams really got to start focusing on their breakoffs because it's making or breaking games for me, especially on Bocage and Tuscan. Like, if you could start off and get a good 80-point lead right off the rip, that shit helps. It helps a lot. And I don't know if you guys agree with me or not.
It's like that in a lot of CODs. There are only a few CODs. I think World War II is the one that stands out where like people were able to get huge momentum swings in the middle of the map and make crazy comebacks. We also saw it in Modern Warfare a lot too. But I agree with you. Right now we're still early on in the game, and I think teams are focused on a lot of other things that they're not like trying to counter breakoffs as much. And like this map, for example, like the team that's on the left side of the map and starts off that way, like they beat the team on the right to middle, correct, to P1.
Yeah, there's a good side and a bad side to every map, which we also need to start talking about because I've been talking to some of the pros and stuff. There's definitely good sides and bad sides to the start of these maps. So some people have the advantage, and I think that's where the coin flip and probably the veto system and all that comes into place.
Talking about this map, Tom, like, yeah, the left side gets there faster, but if you're the right side, you don't get flipped on P1. P2 is one of the biggest money hills in the game right now, so it's not that bad to start on the right side.
Yeah.
So like whatever. We can have another debate about that on a later date.
Oh, you think P2 in this game is one of the money hills?
Oh, a P2
Or
on
this
is
map, or this map,
100%
excuse me.
one of the-
Really? I thought it was the P3s that was
Yeah, I was
the
about to
most.
say.
I thought the
P3s
P3 was
is like-
insane.
No, P2 is a pretty big money on this map.
You might be
Bigger than
right. You might be
P3 though?
right.
Yeah.
Because I
pretty
thought
confident on that one.
P3 that people just stay on the head glitches in the back, and it's like almost unbreakable. You
Yeah.
rely on tax. You rely on tax.
Or that like lucky ass spawn that the Hydra
So
got today.
P4, in terms of this map, P4 and then P2 are the two biggest money hills right now by average hill time.
What is it?
P4 and then P2.
Oh, interesting. So P3's not even in there.
P3 is
Wait,
actually the
really?
second worst.
Church makes sense. Now Church makes sense though. I can see Church
More
being
than
in
that
there.
Fountain Hill, bro. I feel like when people get that Fountain Hill, it just, I don't know. Their setup looks like they have it locked down, but they are kind of, if they get flipped out, then
No,
they kind of
but
do
P3
split.
is the hill where everybody gets streaks because you have that AR player in the back head glitch just
Yeah.
mowing people down and just goes on a crazy streak. But besides the fact London, they come out so strong, the really good break off. I think they were able to hold on to their lead the whole time. We get into a Berlin S&D. And again, a lot of people just rush planning this B site. It was a lot of back and forth. I see a lot of teams trying to shy away from this B site now. See a lot of people going A more because in the beginning of the season, it was all B. All people did was rush B over and over and over again. But now we see teams switching it up. Good first round out of Seattle to get the retake. It's not easy to retake that. But we see it very often, right? You get the B bomb down. A lot of people are backing up towards warehouse. People like to call it. Asen was yelling at me in rank play because I didn't know what the call out was. So now I'll never forget it. But people back up to warehouse and they just kind of hold their lanes. But what do you guys think is going on here in this map?
I think the one interesting thing I've seen this weekend on this map, if we're going to kind of talk high level, is like if teams get stuck in offense, you see where Afro is right now. You get stuck in this building on offense, it's super hard to get out because I've seen a lot of teams like 2 or 3 stack in this building and they give up left and they just get pinched and they can't go anywhere. So again, to your point, seems like a lot more kind of early B plants, at least today. But I'm curious to see how this kind of develops for next week and a half when people go back and watch film from all these games this weekend and kind of develop their defaults and strats for the major.
Well, I mean, London really struggled here. They struggled in this S&D. Seattle, they didn't have an answer for anything Seattle was doing. Seattle, if I remember correctly, storm rolled them. They rolled right through them. I mean, it happened so fast. They literally were just running at them. And it just looked like everything was going for it. And Mac almost had a 1v3 off the rip right here.
Yeah, this is the only round that London
It's the only
right
one.
here.
Yeah, it's the only round that London won, and Mac almost clutched it up. But Pat, what do you think is going on with London on this map?
I don't know, right? Because they didn't look bad. The other times they played Berlin S&D, but they did rely on Trey having big plays with the sniper, and I feel like he just wasn't getting in that many engagements with that sniper on that B street.
Yeah.
Seattle looked like they were just kind of playing bully. And then when they did go B, they got the plant down and then played that like Lamar setup, sit in the back, play really annoying kind of style. So I think they just had a really good game plan for this London team. And yeah, London just couldn't adapt.
Let me ask you guys something. Do you think there's a lot of VOD review? Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to cut you off there. You think there's a lot of VOD review going into it? You think Seattle just watched London's VOD and maybe just blind countered the fuck out of them, or what?
So
Knowing their coaches, probably.
As good as y'all think London are at this map, they're 1-3 so far in this major. So
But they kept it competitive, no? Like they haven't been.
yeah, I mean
like, allowed or anything.
it's pretty close in terms of all of those maps they played other than this one. But I mean, it's not like the most amazing record. Right now, the best teams in Berlin are Boston, Florida, and Minnesota. Minnesota, a couple of crazy Berlin wins. But I agree with you. Like Seattle, as
Great
a
round
whole,
there by Seattle.
Seattle as a whole has been a really disciplined S&D team, like going straight from kickoff classic.
I mean, that's what they've been relying on in general is their search, right? That's what's kept them in. That's why we had them in this kind of top echelon team. Is their S&D's always been consistent.
I just think watching London play, bro, their best S&D strats are when they go at speed. Like their hard counters are really good. Their aggressive defaults are really good. I just don't know if this team's like the best team that's going to play off like a Trey pick type system. You know what I mean? If they're going to pull out a sniper a lot on defense, I just want to see them like get street pressure if they're going to play defense and just take advantage of their really good ability to win singles.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's just now we're at the level now where teams are so good and it's so competitive that in S&D, you got to know how to play slow, how to play aggressive, and how to adapt, and how to play situationally. Like, all this stuff matters now. Teams are going to be studying your VOD. You're going to have to constantly switch up your game plan. It's going to be a lot of mind games, especially as the year goes on, right? We already see people changing it up so much in the beginning of the year that as the year goes on, I mean, teams are going to have to keep being creative and keep figuring stuff out. So I think there's going to be a lot of ups and downs this year for teams in S&D just because it's going to be a mental game the whole way through. But this map, I just think the aggression from Seattle was just too much for London. And then you could tell just as they start gaining rounds, I mean, they started challenging everything. Dante picked up a couple kills here. He got one there, and he gets another one after this. So just good plays all around from Seattle. But after the S&D, it just wasn't looking good for Seattle going into the respawns. The respawns, London took care of business. And I don't know what's going on with Seattle, but it just seems like London is a little bit too much for them right now. Listen, I hate to be this guy. I hate to be this guy.
Be that guy.
You want me to be this guy, Pat?
Be that guy.
This map is unwatchable now. It's unwatchable. I'm actually debating sometimes watching this map. You already know what's gonna happen before you even watch it.
Bro, it's getting to the point where teams are legit.
Go to the round where London was 4 on the rock in the back of the spawn. Go to the round.
But like teams aren't even like trying to capture B at the end of rounds. Like if it looks hard, like they're just like fuck it, let's just kill horror and get kills.
Go all the way to the beginning, bang.
Yeah, the London example was
all the way to the beginning because I want to show what Seattle did here in the first round. They went to B, but they didn't full commit to B. Look at this. Off the break, they sent 1 to B, and then they had 2 guys ring 1 A. What was their plan here? What do you guys think their plan was here? Off the rip of this, you think it was just to make things hectic and just hit the whole map out and hit all the lanes, or why did they split? Which they got on the point, but it just ended up not working out for them. I just figured if you're going to play for B, why not just all hit it, you know? Why not just all play for B?
Well, if you all 4 then go down, then you're just in a spawn trap. So at least the other guys get outright.
And I mean, if you look at the stats, like the teams who do that full B commit in the beginning are like 0-9 at it with like a 0.6 KD in the round.
Yeah, so you think that it was a good play for them to widespread like that?
I don't think it was a good play, but I think the reason they didn't do the full commit is because it's such a risky play, because as soon as you die, you're in a almost guarantee of a trap.
Here's my thought process. They need to make 2 fixes. Either we need to go back to tick-based round for how map 5 gets determined, or B needs to move to the middle of the map and actually make it easier to cap.
I also want to talk about.
Yeah.
You want to move? Wait, you want to move the point all the way to the middle of the map?
Where else do you want to put it? I mean, you can move it more closer out to the beach, I guess, but like. Right now, like, dude,
you're talking about the B point, you said?
Yeah.
You want where exactly middle? Because I was thinking maybe like ring, like maybe about where ring is at.
Yeah.
Bro, just delete the tank, bro. Just delete the tank.
We need to get
the tank people on B point.
Yeah, the tank on B point. It would make off. How do you cap it then, Pat?
Just like I don't know, put some rocks a little further back, bro. But get rid of the tank. The problem is people can heady that tank and then lay in that tank. Like that shit pisses me off.
I think the map is just not working right now. If you want my honest opinion, I think pro players are just making it work because there's no other maps to make work, and they're trying to do whatever they can.
What was the other option? Just Berlin, right? That was like the only one that was being tested, but the spawns were just so bad.
I don't know. I would love to see maybe a Casablanca or some shit, but I heard that map wasn't playing well either. Go ahead, Ben.
The thought process is I think post this major, like there just needs to be a big group think between everybody about like what's going on with this map. How do we improve it to make offense a little bit better? I assume if they're going to go to a more round-based thing, that requires a patch, so that might take a second to fix. But I would love to see them kind of combo that with moving the B site closer, and then you kind of make the full B plays work a little bit better, because even if B is hard to cap and people go and they like at least get a tick on B, like it makes the insta B play like a little bit better, just like we saw with how Control developed in the last game with how people would push on Garrison to B point, try and get a couple of ticks, so at least if they got spawn trapped, they had that for round 5. Yeah. Like I just think this map needs a couple of tweaks, and then it could be a lot better.
What about Castle? Did no one try Castle?
Castle Control? No, there's no way that's gonna work.
You don't think so?
No, not Castle Control. I thought that map was pretty good in search though. I don't know why I don't know why they removed S&D Castle. I thought that map was fine for S&D.
Bro, actually, hold on, Tom. You gotta Ben. Can we pause to watch together? Tom, I want you to bring up switch scenes. Bring up another tab.
Okay. Yeah. What's up?
Type in World at War Courtyard.
World at War Courtyard on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah. No, on Google. Just Google images.
Okay.
I still think that map would be godlike for Control.
All right, let's check it out.
I'm saying it.
I know this map. I know what map you're talking about.
It'd be a slugfest.
Let me see if I can find a good picture here.
Super small.
Yeah. Some of these are a little fugazi. Some of these pictures are a little fugazi, but here, this is not a bad one.
But there are a lot of maps that could be really good in this game. Like I would love to see St. Marie or London Docks be given a go in this map.
Yeah, but Ben, my question
London
is
Docks would be good.
When people do the maps that they bring back, why do they bring back none from like the old days, right? Like it's all modern maps that get like remade. Why are the old OG maps not getting remade? Like why aren't any of the COD 4 maps or the World at War maps or the COD 2 maps? Like where are those at?
We had Crash remade. Crash got remade a couple of games ago, right? In Modern Warfare.
Was it Crash?
What game was that? Modern Warfare?
I don't
Either
remember.
way, bro,
I don't remember
that
Crash
map-
being remade.
That map didn't work, bro. Anyway, I was like a
Anyway,
real
to the hard point where we
cop.
go, because I don't think there's anything else for us to talk
Listen. My point is just look. If we're gonna bring back maps, we gotta expand.
No,
the
go back,
library.
Ben, go back.
Wanna go back to the control?
Yeah. I want to show people why. I want people to see it firsthand.
No, you want me to go back all the way to
Go
the
to the
first round
2-1
again?
round. The 2-round round to the end of the 2-round round where London was all sitting on a fucking rock all the way in the back. And then I also want to talk about some of the streak usage. I mean, this is just stuff that I noted down when I was watching.
You want to go to the fourth round?
It was at the end of this round. Yup, the end of this round right here. If you bring it to the end, London was all the way pushed out. Look, they all spawned in the back. And then they didn't want to look. They didn't want to give away any lives or anything.
Look, they back up.
So after this, look, they start slow pushing up a little bit, but then once they die again, they all just sit in a rock in their base and nobody moves because it's based off kills. So people on their offenses are just not even trying to win. They're just trying to.
Especially if you're up, right?
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point. Like the way control is played right now, it's literally like a glorified TDM.
People played Gary like this for a bit though last year. You fix this map and you open up and you do text thing else. It'll be good, Chase.
Well, no. People played Gary like that before the control point.
Look at them stacked up on the rock.
I was about to say you couldn't cap on plat in the beginning of that when the map came.
Stacked up on that thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't the stairs though. Like you had to go all the way down.
It made that point impossible because you had to hop on the tank.
Yeah.
So.
But
I think I think the big key is more and more evidence. I think there just needs to be a little bit of a rethink on this map. I think it could be a fine control map with a couple of tweaks. It could be a lot better.
Maybe some tweaks, move the points, change it so ticks. You get extra time per tick and shit. Go ahead,
My problem is though, like we're waiting till what, Ben? Like mid stage 2 that we're even, and I don't remember what the timeline was in Cold War when that Garrison changed, but like $1 million has already been up for grabs in a tournament before we make a map competitive. Like that's just ridiculous to me. I don't know. That's just super silly.
I agree. I agree. I think they wait too long to make changes. I don't know what the devs are doing. I feel like the devs should immediately look at what the problems are when the game is dropped and get right to fixing it. And I know that the devs are seeing a lot of the stuff that we're saying because I'm pretty sure developers
they're active on Twitter, right?
They're active. I heard they watched this show. I heard that they watched this show. So
they watched the show, huh?
That's what I heard. You know, I got my sources.
How's it going?
You know, I'm just saying, developers hear this stuff. They see us talking about it. At the end of the day, would love to get add some maps. Add some old maps that we know is going to work. Add some old maps in here. Let's get more maps into this rotation because we're seeing the same maps being played over and over again. And on top of that, they had to fix control back to how it was in Cold War, where overtime gets based off takes, and it's an objective type game and not a fucking glorified TDM. Because right now, it's starting to become, it's starting to get to the point where it's unwatchable, in my personal opinion. And it is what it is. Let's get into it. A Gavitu hard point. Fucking Afro, by the way, starting off 7-0, hitting that ring hill. And he got full streaks. He was on one today. He was on one today. I'm a big fan of Afro. I played him in league play last year, and he shit on me. And I said, holy shit, this guy's good. I couldn't keep up, but he's an animal. And I think with the likes of Nasty and Gizmo, who are some young guns. And also, can we give some credit to the vet? Mr. Trey Zero.
Trey had a great series.
This guy is playing well, man. Trey Zero. I feel like not only is he kind of the top head for these guys, the veteran, just the guy with the experience, right? To kind of talk to these guys and get them all on the same page. But he's also performing, and that's something that you don't see a lot. Sometimes you see IGLs or people who are kind of that leader for the team not performing, and then their backseat is always, well, I'm leading. So, performance might not always be there, but at least they're leading the team. He's doing both. So it's good. It's good to see Trey kind of hitting that form. And I think if Trey keeps it up, this London team is so scary, especially if Trey's playing the way he's been playing. I feel like all four of them are just hitting another level. I mean, even off the rip, again, another break off from London where they go up 90 to 100 points off the rip. Like, you can win maps just by getting such a good lead like this. I think Seattle's going to go back and kick themselves after looking at their breaks because both hard points, they got fucked up in the breaks.
Aside from their breaks, though, I mean, do you really see like Seattle making that many bad plays? I really don't for the most part. I still think they're making the, same plays. They're just not getting the kills.
I think they have a similar problem that like FaZe had for a while in Modern Warfare. Like, I just feel like they've got so much speed, but they need to figure out times when sometimes you just got to hold and then push up. Like, they're trying to do a little bit too much on the map sometimes, and they're getting themselves in funky situations. That's what I've noticed.
That's a tough comparison, bro, because FaZe was always getting kills. They were always
I understand
getting their
that,
kills.
but like, I feel like this team gets good setups and they just move too much and they chalk the setups.
Back up a little bit, Ben. I actually like how London made this hill mixy. They ended up not getting everything, but I like the way to use their streak. And I want to start talking about streak usages a little bit because some teams are completely lost when it comes to streak usage. But notice how they break the spawns here. They have a guy slow playing left. The rest of them go ring, so they're pretty much blocking all the spawns. And then as soon as the streak comes down, they all run forward. I didn't know that you can block spawns by hitting this right field like that. And I think it kind of got all fucked up once that number 2 died. From Seattle, who was at Lamar. Like, once Lamar died, I think that's why London may got those spawns. But it's a good play to call the streaks, rein them in, and I like how they set it up. I think that's something that you don't see a lot from teams. You see teams just kind of just pre-popping missiles, like, and they're not doing anything with them. London was able to break on in and break into this hill. Granted, Seattle came right back and broke it back. But I think it was a good initial play and a good thought process from London on how to set that up and break that hill. So just good plays there. We got to listen in too if you want to tune in. You want to tune in?
Yeah, let's listen.
Actually, I'm down to tune in because I wasn't a big fan of Seattle's comms today. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Let's tune in.
I was in your chat when this was happening.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. Play bang.
P3.
He's clip on me on one shot.
Just play slow. I tried to make I'm with you. I'm seeing green. With that tower. I'm going down the ring stairs.
Clip nasty one shot. Clip nasty one bullet. Okay, he's gonna go boat. He's one bullet.
Third boat. Third. You saw me third.
Okay. I spawned close.
You play kills, man. Propane dead. Nice. Give my third. One time.
Cubby time.
Third week.
He's cubby time.
Cubby killed me. Afro. He's cubby. He's back up. He's third, I'm pretty sure. Third. One shot time. I need him.
I'm nading time.
I need a time. I need a time as well. I hit
him with the nade, guys.
I jumped out. I'm waiting for it. I'm sliding in cubby.
Propane, one shot. Propane, trade one shot.
Propane.
Oh, I couldn't get down. Fuck. He's crossing green. There you go. Get you. One rotate. I spawned here. One could spawn. I have your ring stairs.
Ring stairs, kill me.
I stunned over. I have your ring stairs.
Ring stairs, kill me. I'm close. Each out me. I'm gonna flank their side low. They're gonna be ring.
Okay. I'm nading over. ring. I naded ring.
I
hit him with the nade.
I killed him. He's dead.
One shot.
That's he's on me on the rock.
Afro shot our side.
One shot the ramp.
Alright, our side ring, okay?
Come our side with nades.
Yeah, good. He's P3 maybe.
Yo, Trey was low. He's on the rock. He's on the rock. He's close. I'm flanking boat. He's either rock or he's shortcut.
All right, dude. I gotta say something, Tom.
I have a lot to say about it too, but you could go first. Go ahead.
Bro, I get it. Dante's in the blender on this map, but again, like we talked about last time we did the callouts with them, I liked kind of how when they actually started small talking, they got a good chance at that break on that P5, but then once again, the small talk stops happening and they're just like going to run into Gunny. They're just not setting up plays as a team, and I'm hearing too many just the basics of callouts and not some of the deeper stuff.
They're just not talking about, they constantly find themselves in positions where they have to break, and they're not talking about what to do or where to go. They should be communicating with each other. I'm going to take a long route away from me. Let's do this. Let's go here. So, it's just the small talk definitely stopped. And you hear Lamar. I feel like Lamar is like definitely the loudest one. He's the one I hear the most when I listen to these listen-ins. But you're right, Ben. Just a lot of basic comms and not really a lot of small talk. And I think if Seattle can get into a habit of doing that small talk and setting things up, they'll start playing more as a team, and they'll get back to that point where they were in the beginning of the season. But Pat, what did you think?
I mean, I don't know. It just, to me, it sounded like a team that kind of was just like
going through it.
Not accepting defeat, but kind of almost felt like it was just they were waiting for the map to end, right?
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a sense of urgency that they're down like 60, 70, 80 points and it's growing. But yeah, I kind of agree with Ben. I mean, the small talk just kind of faded as soon as they would lose like a crucial gunfight, and it was just more just calling out, what's going on, what's happening, shit like that.
Gizmo had a fantastic map, by the way, 26 and 17. I mean, this guy's breeding confidence right now. And definitely didn't want to doubt London going into this series with the way they've been playing. So it was a really good job by London. I think in the hard points, they just came out and mopped Seattle. I think the S&Ds where Seattle kind of had the upper hand, but the respawns, I mean, just London's talent just kind of setting them apart. What's up, Pat?
There's a question for you in the chat. What is they want to know what's the difference between small talk and basic comms? Can you elaborate for that gentleman in the chat?
So basic comms is like, okay, so there's a guy's ship, right? Okay, there's one ship, right? That's what people say. That's a basic comm. But small talking is telling people what you're doing, where you're going on the map, what you're looking at. I mean, basically just letting your teammates know everything that's happening. That way your teammates know what they need to look at, what's going on. It's hard. It's a lot easier to set things up in game and have teamwork in game when you're small talking, because you know what everybody's doing and you know what's going on in everybody's head. If you don't small talk, you're basically thinking for your teammates, or you gotta try and, what's the word, Pat? You gotta try and think what your teammates are thinking in a way. You know, it's almost like a trust thing. But
trying to read minds. If you're
read minds, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Trying to read minds. So at the end of the day, I think small talking just ups the teamwork. And listen. Someone like myself struggled with that. It's difficult sometimes to small talk and play the game at the same time because you're trying to micromanage so many things in your head that it's just really difficult to communicate when you're trying to focus on yourself. So that was one thing that Donnie used to tell me a lot when I was in New York. He was trying to get me into a habit. Lamar as well used to always hound me.
That's what it is, right? It's a habit. It's a
habit. It's a habit.
You constantly get better at.
And Lamar and Donnie Temp from Paris, they used to hound me on the small tongue like, Tommy, you're so good, you're so talented, but if we just knew what the fuck you were doing, it would make our jobs a lot easier. And the thing is Donnie would call it blacking out. I used to black out and I used to run at people and I would do well. I'm popping kills, but nothing really matters if my teammates don't know what I'm doing because they can't play off of me. So if I'm hitting something out, I need to comment, I'm hitting this out, I'm picking this up, this spawn's open, they could spawn here, this and that. I mean, you always have to keep your comms going. And what do you think, Pat? Is that a good explanation, or did I hit it on the nose?
Pretty damn good. I think you answered that gentleman's question.
If anybody knows a lot about small talking, it's me, because I struggled at it as a player. I struggled with getting the small talking and performing at the same time. As my career went on, I got a lot better at it for sure.
And it's an important habit to build and to build on, even for any kind of, you know, where you're at and you're starting in the career, even if you're in the challengers and wanting to work up to pros. I mean, that's something that's a super underrated thing that's being more and more kind of looked for in a lot of teams. But
yeah, I mean,
that's Boston.
Yeah, we got the Boston Breach going up against OpTic Texas. And listen, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I hated these vetoes.
Yeah, you didn't like the vetoes because you saw Gavitu. You saw Gavitu and you weren't a fan. Yeah, Gavitu. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, you just don't want to see OpTic play Gavitu, is what you're gonna say, right?
Yeah, and maybe it's one of those cases where Breach aren't good at Gavitu either. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like any other map isn't close, right? Like Gavitu, if there's gonna be a close hard point, it's gonna be Gavitu. Like I feel like I don't care if it's Berlin or Bocage, OpTic should mop the floor with the Breach. It's just how you look at it, you know, talent versus talent on a map like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like the vetoes, and maybe, you know, I can't say that OpTic was just kind of wanting to practice and expand their map pool because they're looking at what was I gonna say? Oh, like they're already guaranteed because they weren't, right? They were 2-2. This was a must-win match for them. But yeah, I think. Ben, did you say that Breach won the coin flip here?
Breach won the coin flip. Boston had to win one map to make it.
They
in the
vetoed
winners.
Berlin. Then
So,
they vetoed Berlin.
Well, OpTic was already in winners bracket prior to the series starting. Boston had to win one map.
No matter what.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
between Boston and Florida.
Yeah, they were in no matter what.
So if Boston didn't win a map, then
because
Florida
it wasn't how it was supposed to be last night. Yeah, it got swapped. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
So I mean, I agree with you. I just feel like people were just like shook with this Berlin hardpoint thing, and like I may have wanted to see OpTic play Berlin hardpoint.
Why though? Why? Like I don't understand. To me, it's the most normal map that we have out of all of them. Like literally the most normal out of all 4 hardpoint maps.
Which one? Berlin?
Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin plays well. Berlin plays well. It's easy on the eyes too. It's easy to watch Berlin.
Yeah.
It's easy to watch it and to figure out what the hell's going on compared to like a Tuscan and a Bocage, where like I can understand completely from a casual viewer to not understand what the fuck's going on.
And it's one of those things, right? Like Capsule had that great fucking clip on Berlin, right? And you know, Boston had a good win on that map. Why are people afraid of it? Like that was a one-off. We haven't seen that happen more than once. Especially if you're OpTic and you have the talent you do. Like, why am I afraid of that?
We've seen this strat play out so much, man. A team has a good map. They don't play it in a real match for a couple of weeks, and then someone finally challenges them on them, and they get smoked. Like, I can count numerous times this has happened, including last year. But getting actually into this Gava too, I thought that first off, I thought OpTic should have won the series 4-0. If we're honest,
They should have won this map.
I think they kind of definitely should have won this map. But credit to Boston, they had a crazy P1 hold. I
think it came down to Zinni. Zinni had a crazy play in general. He got a repeat
at the end. Yeah, he did. I think. Let's just say how it is. OpTic look really fucking good right now. They look really
they're
good.
An S-tier team.
No, they are. They look insane.
And I said it. They were an S-tier team from the get-go. They just started slow. But this team, this lineup, the amount of talent they have, they weren't going to be anything but S-tier. It just took a little bit of time for them to get going. But they have so much talent.
I don't think anybody. I mean, even in the beginning of the year when we were making a tier list, I mean, we always knew OpTic had potential to win events, and they're an S-tier team. The teamwork was just the thing with them is the teamwork. And right now, I feel like that sloppiness has gone away. They're actually working together. I think the only problem sometimes right now is maybe the routes they're taking. We heard Dan talk about it yesterday. He thinks that's their problem. I think OpTic might have lost this map because of some of the routes that they might have taken. They're still trying to figure things out. You can tell.
Which is why you don't want to play Gava2.
Yeah, you don't want to play Gava2. But even when they're not taking good routes, the one thing I am noticing is they're still playing together and they're still playing with each other. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
A lot of that is a credit to them having that bad start. I think, honestly, the starting 0-2 for this OpTic team was the best thing that could have happened to them. No bullshit.
Yeah.
I agree.
The best thing.
Well, I will say this, a caveat thing, and we say it's about OpTic every year. I expect this team to be really dominant against every other team except for Toronto and FaZe. And at the end of the day, those are the two teams. Amongst the three of those teams, those are
still be competitive.
That we're going to evaluate them. So, like, that goes back to the Berlin thing for me because I want to see them score up more on Berlin because, to me, if they can get good at that map, boy, they got a huge advantage on Toronto, especially.
And FaZe.
They can
don't
score
play Berlin that much.
Yeah, Toronto, FaZe doesn't play that much Berlin, but Toronto's excellent at that map. And if OpTic can match them on that map, and the way that OpTics look better in S&D as of late, they have a very huge advantage in the map pool.
I mean, this is one of OpTic's most talented roster in years. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I think this is the most talented roster they've had in the last few years. So I definitely think, as of right now, when it comes to those to Toronto and FaZe and this and that, OpTic is going to be able to compete. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be coming down to what we talk about: the fundamentals, the routes, the teamwork, stuff like that. And it seems like this is stuff that OpTic's fixing, and they're definitely working on. And Rambo, there's no way in hell in the beginning of the year Rambo's looking at that stuff and he's okay with it. Yeah. Rambo's looking at it, and Rambo is probably hounding these fucking guys, hounding them. So I think OpTic looked good. I'm impressed. I thought they were gonna win this first map, but Boston not so good. I think Boston they're kind of going through the ups and downs of Seattle. They kind of remind me of Seattle a little bit. Super talented but young and inconsistent. And they kind of remind me of each other. Like Seattle and Boston kind of remind me of each other a little bit.
A couple of things. They've lost a few coin tosses, and they played a way too much Gava2 in the last 3 or 4 matches. That probably hasn't helped.
I don't understand, Ben. Why aren't they just vetoing it? Like,
well, because everybody keeps vetoing Berlin against them. So
why don't they just veto Gava2?
They've been playing a lot of Bocage and Gava2.
But why not Tuscan? Look at their roster.
Exactly.
Why are they not playing Tuscan?
I don't know why they're not good. I think they'd be good at Tuscan. The other piece for Boston too is just like Seattle. I think the packet teams kind of caught up to them a little bit. And so now they got to put in a little bit of work this week. Look, they made it in the winners, but they're going to have to play FaZe round 1. They've got a tough task, and they need to figure out how to assert their dominance again and get back to showing the individual skill that they have on their team. Because right now there's just sort of back in the chase packet teams that are trying to get top 4 at this major.
Like the discipline here from OpTic. They say, you know what, 20-30 seconds might be going to Boston on that hill right there over in field. But if we just stay disciplined, set back, rotate. Illy found himself pushed up on a good corner here. He was able to shoot 2 people in the back right here. It's about to come up. Yep, boom, right there. Shoots 2 people in the back, kind of funnels all of Boston over to that left side of the map. Illy played fantastic today. I think Illy's been really hitting form. He's definitely, you could tell Illy's been putting in the work. And obviously you've seen him toss the headset and do this and do that. He's a very passionate guy, very passionate when it comes to the game. So you definitely know Ender's going to be turning up. But I just love the discipline from OpTic to say, hey, you know what? Get Boston to 20-30 seconds, rotate, lock down the money hill, and bring it all the way back. And then I wanted to ask you guys, going into this P5 hill, what do you guys think is the best way to break this? Because the first P5 hill, Illy went all the way around. He took a super duper fucking long route, got his team the back spawns. But the problem with that is when you get those back spawns, Boston's coming from boat, and they have that top boat control. You can't really do anything when somebody's head glitching top boat. This time around on the second P2, OpTic ended up getting boat control and forcing Boston to the back. You can see Scump right there. See number 8 Scump, how he pushes Hill out. He pushes out the front, gets the kills, forces Boston to the back spawns. Now they have bow control, and Boston's just kind of funneled. I feel like that's the better play, me personally. But what do you guys think?
I think it's a little bit of a 3-1. The person coming off old, or someone's got to try and win the fights cliff to try and get bow control. If you can win that single, then going all the way around is fine because you've got middle and their spawn theoretically cut off. I don't mind to go around the back play, but if you don't have any bow control, then you're gonna, after you get the wave of kills and get the hill back, and once you get them 4 dead, you're gonna be kind of pinned in the hill and having to watch all the crosses.
And this is why OpTic should win, because they lock down the P5 and they get so much time. They locked down this P5 so much better than the first one, simply because they had everything pushed out and they were getting the kills and they had that bow control. But now this is where things get mixy, okay? Because OpTic only need a few more points to win. Boston's rotating to the P1. What do you guys think is the best way to break this P1 hill? Because OpTic was doing a lot of flooding. They were doing it together, which was good. Every time they were front hitting or trying to do something, they were holding hands and holding pockets. But I definitely think people are going to have to start taking some long routes or figuring out a way to break on in here. They got in, but Tony went absolutely massive here. We got to give him...
I'm not seeing any nades getting thrown.
That's what I was about to say. Why aren't they just setting up nades? Because that's almost a guaranteed break. Blowing up in the, cooking it, blowing it up on their side.
They just threw nades right there, but they managed to get none of the kills, so okay.
Well, they also threw them on their side. Why didn't they bounce them off the back?
Yeah, I mean, coming off your spawn, there's some nades you can throw to middle.
Also, I don't know if Boston was counting players right there, but a good heads-up play at a TJ to realize that Seth was down low. I don't know if they saw him go there, if they were counting players and knew they were missing one. But a good heads-up play. And you can see OpTic just trying to flood front over and over again. Now there's no time. Now there's no time, so they're trying to get in there and do whatever they can. But yeah, little bit of one-on-one here, a little bit of one-on-one towards the end. But I think they were panicking because they were about to lose.
Then you got 3 and it was.
But before that, they were pushing as a team. But at the end right there, yeah, Tony was making plays. He was picking them all one by one. I think they were just trying to stop the clock because they were about to fucking win. But good play, honestly, out of Zinni and Boston. I think Boston, it was a very back and forth game, and I just think Tony went really big towards the end of the map. TJ's been really struggling on the Gavitus. There's certain players, man, that even Capsule, right? Just Gavitu, it's not a map for them.
It doesn't suit them, bro.
It doesn't suit a lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out, and this might be how this map kind of develops with this break, is they killed the guy middle, and then they don't actually challenge this lane. Number 2 dies, and I feel like someone should take off middle all the way around.
Agreed.
And you cut off then the person coming off a spawn, and you cut up their middle alley if you kill that guy. They can only funnel from beach at that point, and you've got basically 3 of the lanes covered to middle.
100%. I agree.
Instead they flood front, and they just give Boston just spawns up and just takes middle again.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that guy is gonna come off spawn and probably pick up mid. But if you can find the timings, if you can get a kill middle,
you got time to go top boat, and you know what I mean. You got time to get to a good spot.
Yeah,
or just go all the way around.
Yeah. I think it was the end of the game. I think panicking. I think there was definitely a little panic in there, and they definitely started just hitting that hill, just flooding it over and over again. But if they do get the kill mid, I definitely think they got to mix it up, take a route. Somebody needs to take a route early because it's gonna make Boston's job a lot easier. Pat, you've played before. It's a lot easier to hold a hill down when you know where everybody's coming from, rather than when people are pinching and coming from fucking 4 different lanes. You're like, oh shit.
So fucking.
But if you have a team 4
holding the L trigger.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a team 4 hitting front, all it takes is for one of your teammates to get one and die and say the rest are front, all 3 in front, they're all coming front. Next thing you know, everybody turns and you hold those crossfires, and there's nothing you could do about it. So definitely want to see OpTic take some more routes there. But they look better. It was a really good first map. This S&D went all the way down to the round 11. A lot of individual plays in this one. We go into a Tuscan S&D. What are you guys' initial thoughts?
I think Boston definitely tossed round 11, and I'm very curious to get your guys' thoughts when we break it down.
Listen, hold on. Before we say they tossed round 11, obviously last night I made some comments about if Boston beat OpTic, I'd get Zen City tatted on my ass.
Yeah.
They lose first map, and they go round 11, and people are tweeting me like, oh, I bet you were scared, bet you were worried. Absolutely not. Okay, this is OpTic Texas or Texas OpTic, depending on who you are. They weren't going to lose this series, period. I don't care if they lost this round 11. They were going to reverse sweep. But to me, this round 11 just came down to it. It looked like Boston was scared for so majority of the round, right? Didn't want to make a play.
Yeah. I mean, I personally disagree with both y'all. I don't think OpTic was scared. I don't think I don't think Boston was scared. And I don't think Boston trolled. I think OpTic outplayed the fuck out of them round 11. They hit out that B, that A site. They hit it out on defense. We know how OP offense is on this map. We know it is.
But why don't they just make a play? Like, even if they're there,
I think OpTic just hit him with the blind counter the last round. They hit him with the blind counter. They threw all their tags over. They slowed them down, and they got this control. They were able to get Shotzzy pushed up, and Boston knows that. Once they get pegged with so many tags and they can't move, and OpTic gets pushed up, now Boston.
Look at where they are.
Well, I don't know what their thought process was after the fact. Is that what you mean when they're saying Boston was scared?
What
Okay. I
like,
thought you meant because Boston was going towards the A side and they ended up retreating. I thought that's what you meant when you thought they were scared.
I'm just saying they went back to mid map spread and then just sat here until like the last 20 seconds. We're like, fuck, we got to make a play.
I personally just, whoever made that strat call from OpTic, good fucking call. Because how many times do you see teams just run to A, get the bomb down, and back up, and they play top fire and play late flanks, and nobody can do anything? Offense is so fucking OP. It's so OP, and I think OpTic realized, like, hey, we can't let them get this bomb down A. We have to do something about this. They chuck all their tags. They blind counter the A push. They get Shotzzy pushed up. And now at this point, OpTic's like, we got map control. Spread the map, play for info, and see wherever the fuck they're going. And Boston just took 8 years to make a play.
Yeah.
It took them the whole fucking round to make a fucking play. I'm like, dude.
They were so nervous.
Somebody make a call.
What to do.
Somebody make a fucking call here. Like, you got to do something here. But that's what happens when you blind counter and you get map control. You make things difficult. And I think OpTic coming from the defensive side, it was a really good strat call. Whoever called that.
I would have loved to see, they obviously be aware that they got blind countered A and then just do a fast B wrap and just 4-hit it out. Because they know they're going to have man advantage if they do that, right? Like
they probably would have lost this round if they hit B, though.
All 4 of them, like every single one of them just hit it out. Because you got 2 of them who are still at A.
Listen.
And OpTic ends up wrapping to A. So if you would have caught that timing where you're hitting B while they're wrapping, that would have been money in the bank.
And the thing is, too, is that that's where the mental games come in. If Boston's on the offensive side, I thought that maybe somebody from Boston would read, hey, they're probably going to try and hit out A here because they don't want us to get it down. Let's just do a full-out B hit, and they send all their numbers to B. We don't see we rarely saw anybody go B on this fucking map. Nobody goes B. They all go A.
And when you see a blind counter off the beginning of the round, I feel like that's the one thing that's like, fuck it,
send it the other way. Yeah.
Here's a play in this round that, like, I think would have swung it is like, and I don't know, this is like a very 50-50, right? But like, once this guy Shotzzy gets called out middle, would love to see Tej push up because he had a free kill if he did. And instead he backed up. Like, even here, like, he could have pushed up. Maybe he gets weird timing right, and that's why he didn't want to do it, because maybe Shotzzy's coming around and L triggering, and then he just kind of gets caught sprinting. But if he got in this pick, they would have had it for free. The other thing I'm interested about this map and how this evolves is, like, is there a way to not have to plant on their side and plant either on your side to watch it from their top church, or plant like out in the middle of the map and be able to watch it from some like crazy
if they
angle?
made a fucking play earlier,
church control, but
yeah. Otherwise you get picked for free.
Well, you know what? Actually,
they just waited too long, though. They waited too long. That's what fucked them.
Nero had the bomb, and he was the one guy middle map. Yeah. If they would have gave bomb to, I think it was player 2 who originally was watching the B wrap. Like, if he would have had bomb and then they would have committed to B and let Nero sit mid map for that late flank, I think they would have won this round.
And Nero was also, we got to talk about Nero. He got an ace on the 4-4 round. He got a really nice ace. He was making plays this whole map. I know we kind of skipped through to go break down this round 11, but Nero was making plays. He was a good playmaker for these guys.
Which is good to see, because yesterday he was kind of the one who kind of made that really bad blunder in the last round.
And I think Shotzzy just played him like a fiddle too. Once they get that map control and Shotzzy gets pushed up, Boston waited so long to get the bomb down where Shotzzy's just like, you know what? All I need to do is fucking check the bomb, shoot him off the bomb, and get the fuck out of here. The round's over. Shotzzy won the round by himself, just being pushed up there and just getting him up bomb and dipping out. He ended up getting 2. This is a good round. And I see Tony in the chat. He said, turn this shit off. He's losing it. But Tony, you guys, I don't know what you guys are doing that last round. If you want me to be completely honest with you, I don't know what you guys are doing. It seemed like you guys were being hesitant and weren't making a play. So OpTic took full advantage, played with a lot of confidence around 11, and then we get into the control. We get into the Gavin 2 control. Good clutch up from OpTic because they were able to win this series. They ended up winning the next 2 maps. But back over to Gavin 2 control. Anything that was crazy this map? Anything that caught you guys' eye?
There's a hot 3-0.
This was clinical from OpTic. Clinical.
Yeah, this is just quick and
I think once OpTic wins the offense here, it's over. It's over. They win the defense.
This goes back to... And honestly, I think Actually, I can't even say that. Like, I can't even say if Boston played Tuscan, they would have been better off. I just think control-wise, OpTic look really, really good right now.
Well, OpTic's control is just insane right now.
Yeah.
But I think once they won this offense, somebody said skip this shit, but this is the one Gavin to control I don't want to skip because OpTic made it look easy. They actually made a really good play onto this B
My
site.
bad, Zen. My bad.
I actually like how they did this. They only had one guy sitting on the point, and then they just had guys sit in ring. They had ring control, and they just had the whole cross. I don't know what was going on. Could Boston not hit a fucking grenade? Could they not get taxed onto this hill? What were they doing?
Could they not wallbang Bruce out of here? I feel like I see a lot of teams just get an angle and just get a quick wallbang on him. But ooh, I guess Zenny just couldn't do it because Bruce was putting him down. But
Right here, number 6 is on the
See
point.
him stay alive so long up there.
Number 6 is on the point. Capsule chucks a grenade. He has no idea where the fuck that's going. I mean, he just hoarded the grenade. No idea. They end up getting more kills. All spawn. I mean, right here, they need to... Bro, the lineups. Get the lineups going, ladies and gentlemen. Figure out how to get nades onto that hill every time because there's no way, there's no reason why this guy should not be getting tacked right now. He should be getting naded up the ass.
Yeah, we saw Alec hit that.
What
nade
is
like
this?
every,
Yeah, look at
every
it. Look at
single
the one
time he threw
grenade
it.
just flung over the back. Look, he just flung over the tank.
That wasn't even in the hill.
They fucking overthrowing grenades. What the fuck are they doing, Tony? Go hit some lineups. You guys are
might have been it.
I think you
Might have
just
been
tossed a
Tony's
grenade
nade.
into the water, into the fucking ocean, Tony.
But their counter here is not to like get the guys out from their side. They kept double pinching middle, which I think is I kind of see the validity in it. But if you don't win those gut fights,
Well,
you're just
they
bleeding
were
lives.
pinching middle because
Risky.
they probably want to get ring control. That's why they're hitting mid. Because if you get ring control,
Well,
they
I
can
feel
cross
like-
the hill.
I feel like on this map or the way this plays right now is like, dude, like getting this like B-side cut like where number 1 is right now, and like not letting them cross is like obviously you want to get top ring control and spawn kill, but like you can play from your base if you don't let them cross.
But Ben, you look at that. You can't be throwing nades like that. Like,
Oh, I
I'm
know,
sorry.
they-
Yo,
they-
he-
they-
yo,
you're
th-
not wrong.
You're a
Hey,
pro
somebody
team, bro.
hit a
You're
fish in
throwing
the
nades
head.
to hijack. Like you're literally throwing it to the yacht out
Yo,
front of
yo,
the
Pat,
ocean.
the fish are getting knocked out by grenades. The
Bro.
fish are getting knocked out.
Like
It's
cook it.
a fish got hit in the fucking head with a grenade, Pat. Jesus Christ. Learn some lineups. Because there's no reason, there's no way somebody should be sitting on that hill without getting tagged for a minute.
At least, yeah, not even getting hit.
No way. I
And
mean,
I didn't even see a stun blow up, so I don't know what they were doing.
yeah, and then I have to go back to the defense, and it's fucking clinical. I mean, you go to the defense,
Yeah.
and at this point, they did a good job counting players right there. They knew Capsule was in the back. Illy, full control, was super aware. Knew somebody got through. Turned around, got the kill. Shotzzy was making plays with the automaton. I don't care what anybody says. If you give a really talented sub player a really good AR, he's gonna go to fuck off. That's what he was doing right here. He was making absolute plays. He was all over the map. I think once they win the offense, it's just too much for Boston. They go back to defense and OpTic close it out. Good win out of OpTic.
Yeah.
Really good win. I think this is
Next
what
map,
one
next map,
of
man.
the fastest. What was this? One of the fastest fucking. Oh yeah, they want to see the spawn. Did you guys see that fucked up spawn? Did you guys see the spawn at the end of this map? Go to when the life advantage was 13-14. Yeah, it was right here actually, right here. So Illy dies. Look where he spawns, ladies and gentlemen. Look where he spawns. Boom! Right behind
tough.
another player. Right behind another player.
That's tough.
I don't think it would have changed anything personally. I don't think it would have changed anything, but
But that's wild.
it is wild spawn.
Really spawned right.
Because imagine Boston. Boston's taking their time. They're setting up a pinch. They're setting it all up. They kill Illy in their base, and Illy dies just to spawn right behind their pinch, which it just doesn't make any sense. The map is broken in every single way.
Next map.
Next
Ben,
map.
Take us to the next map.
Get us
bro.
the fuck out of here. Get us out. Get us out, Ben. Get us out. I don't want to look at it no more. I don't want to fucking look at it. Let's go into the next one. We're going to a Tuscan hard point. Boston. They end up getting into a pretty strong start. They had a good break off. They get over to this P2. It was looking scary off the rip. I was like, Jesus, we might be going to a map number 5. But OpTic, they stay disciplined. They do what they got to do. Typical Tuscan control stuff. You know, what did you guys think about this map? Anything?
Nero had a crazy start, and then he slowed down, and then OpTic
Yeah.
did a really good job on the back end of this rotation to start pulling away.
Yeah, Nero started off 8-0, and he was frying. He got streaks right away. He was getting mixy in these gunfights. Tuscan's very back and forth. It's always gonna be back and forth because some of these hills they're so mixy, especially this P2 hill where people are flooding in from church and they're taking long routes. And I think right here, I think this is where players start to think about that top church control, because if they could get kills, they could just book it the fuck out of here and flip spawns. And that's exactly what they did. But Texas, OpTic Texas, holding all the lanes. they're able to secure some time here. It was very back and forth. I don't think it was anything too crazy. Not that I remember. But if there's anything you guys remember, I mean, we could skip through it, see if we see anything.
I mean, Tony struggled this map, and I just think
he had a bad map.
It was just one of those games where they were just getting outslayed pretty bad after that kind of hot start, but not much they could really do after that.
Yeah, Tony had. I mean, listen, people are gonna have bad maps. People are on Tony's dick.
Sure.
People are on Tony's been playing so good all year long, and the guy has a bad map. And I saw Tony going at it with somebody on this guy fucking tweeting about Tony. Listen, people are gonna have bad maps, guys. It is what it is. That's how Call of Duty goes. Even the best of the best players are gonna go through times where they struggle and have bad maps. Right here's where I thought Boston could have brought it back. They were holding this Fountain Hill. What did you think about those back spawns? Were a little weird. I think the spawns definitely got wonky here. They definitely got wonky, and I'm actually curious to know what you guys think.
I don't know why they got that originally. Can you back that up?
It's even after. It's going into the Churchill though, where it got even more wonky. But keep it playing out here, Ben. Keep it playing out going into this hill. So Boston, they have a good spread. You see a lot of people on this hill, on this Fountain Hill. They get somebody pushed out P1, get somebody pushed out P5, somebody pushed out Fire. They try and play one wave of kills. If they die, they hold. If they get the kills, obviously they continue to push out. But they lose the fights left. I think OpTic do a good job checking their corners. They get to the back here. Number 3 literally spawns on a pinch. And then you see Shotzi, he spawns all the way out. Boston do a good job, but spawns get wonky. Pause it. Do you think OpTic should be getting these back spawns?
No, that's what I was saying.
But number 1 is blocking the P1 now. Yeah, but number 1's blocking P1.
But Nero's right there. I feel like he should have been able to, like, that should be a block still.
This has been, I don't think it should work this way, but it's been this way all year, to be honest. If you push P1 spawn,
it's not just,
and you have no one roof, they're gonna spawn there.
Right, and then at that point, it's a mistake at a capsule. He's got to back up.
I'll say this. I don't think it's a bad play if there's like 30 seconds left on this hill. You push up and you spawn them back there, and then you can take off and win rotation and next. But with like 50 seconds left on this hill, like, yeah, it's a.
You know what I think it is, bro? I think there's too many spawns, and I think that's why. Like, I feel like there's just so many fucking spawn points, and that's why this is possible, because you can't block everything. Like, Nero's in the back. He's like 20 feet away from where they just spawned. That should be blocking it, but there's just so many fucking spawns. Like, I would definitely. What would have happened if Nero went to the roof to block it, and Capsule stay pushed out? Would they have just spawned behind the hill? Like, is that the spawn they would have gotten?
Maybe. We've seen it before. We've literally seen people spawn in that back, all the way in the back by that head glitch over there.
Which is a problem. Like, you should be able to block the back.
And then even right here, rewind it, Ben. Even right here, I thought was a little weird. Even right here, because they get those roof spawns. Boston gets kills and pushes out. Look, so why aren't they spawning in the back now? Now why aren't they spawning in the roof? The old hill is still popped. OpTic should be spawning out there. They should be spawning in the back. Boston get kills, they push up. Now Boston gets the roof spawns. You see this? Like, it makes no sense.
It doesn't work how it used to. It's actually crazy, because there would always be, if you were to push out, like, it'd be like a tug of war line, right? If you would block the back and push out, then they would get the furthest spawn possible. They'd be spawning like back church, right? Because that original spawn is field.
That's how it worked.
Push that out. I mean, right? Yeah, you should be able to spawn them further out. But now it doesn't work like that. It'll just spawn you close to the block spawn. It makes absolutely no sense. You basically gotta
run past people and then you get the spawn.
It's just annoying, because it's 165 to 180. Boston just brought it back. They get kills, they push out. They're forcing a back spawn for OpTic, because that Fountain Hill is still popped. So OpTic should be spawning out, and they should be working flips here. But OpTic just get a spawn beside church.
Well, I gotta roast Boston though, because at no point did I see them slide side door in this hill. Like, bro, why?
You think that's the best way of breaking it though, Ben? Sliding in through side door?
If your team's coming front, yeah, because you team shoot the guy back right. They can't trade both of you.
Well, yeah. I mean, if your teammate's coming front, I mean, they gotta calm something there. I mean, if somebody's challenging, they also challenge.
Door there, unless the guy's going up the stairs or he's coming from field side, like, you shouldn't get traded.
Yeah.
Like a teams are really good. Like, they know that if they clear out the back and they know they're coming from P2, like, I don't know. I just feel like constantly just trying to pinch the back is like not a particularly good play, especially at the end of this hill, because then you just get spawned out and they're gonna win the P5 rotation.
Rewind that a little bit. Rewind that. Shotzi was making a really good play, but he trolled. He trolled right here. Shotzi, when he pushed out P5, I liked the push. I just think he should chill a little bit on that P5. You see a lot of people playing this P5. They push out to roof. I think some of the common mistakes we see right now on this P5 hill is people are pushing out roof and they're not getting help from their teammates, or they're pushing out roof and they're not stopping. Like if Shotzi plays a corner here, he gets a free kill. But instead, he kind of goes like really rogue, and he just kind of runs at him, and he dies. And then, you know, Methods, Tony was hitting low, and Boston was able to get in. I mean, OpTic still salvaged it, but I just think once it's something that Shotzi can look back on and just, realize that if he's going to push that out, just maybe slow play it and play a corner. Because if you get pushed out there and you get kills, like they're spawning out deep. And you can lock down some pretty solid time on this P5. But instead, it just becomes a mix fest. I mean, OpTic could win it here, but
It's always gonna be a mixed fest anyway, unless you go for it.
But if you get there early and you have things pushed down, you're playing your corners, Ben. You can kick things off with an easy 20, easy 30 points. Fuck it, get the kills off rotation, spawn them out, and you're locking down some time. If you're gonna rotate early, you might as well push out and play a corner.
You gotta get them. You either gotta get them on that deep like P3 spawn or the P2 spawn, so you can actually like on the P2 side, you can then play like the top church angle, and then the other side, you can set up that crossfire or pillar in like the top L spot.
Yeah.
All right, listen, guys. Enough about Tuscan Hardpoint. I do want to give a shout out to Illy after that 0-2 start. I think he played extremely well in these last 3 games.
Agreed.
This one in particular. I think he really, really stepped up and was pivotal to OpTic having the success they did.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Illy and way to turn it around. I know that'll make Gersh happy, but
Gersh loves Illy.
But yeah, I mean, I think this was, like I said, this was do or die for them after having that slow start, and they came out, won 3 straight, got winner bracket for their major, and now anything can happen, right? Because when you start in the winner bracket, it is a hell of a lot easier than being down in losers 1. So
We got
to see how they play.
It was not trending in a good direction during the first week when they were 0-2, and they were able to turn around, win 3 straight. They've got a decent draw, and like OpTic's in a pretty good spot going this home event, and like they have a very, very, very good chance now to be lifting the trophy at the end of 2 weekends from now.
I don't know if they have the a great chance to do that, because like I said, I'm thinking Thieves for major 1. But
what about Toronto? So you're thinking Thieves for major 1? You think Toronto's gonna be the 2022 champions? Pat, they sent you merchandise. Oh wait, is that ultra merchandise or is that
it's the ultra?
Wait, hold on. Are you get fucking merchandise from every team, Pat?
Listen, and I want to make a shout real quick to any of those teams out there. Merch managers, social media. Listen, LA Thieves sent me a beautiful care package, and that's why I'm thinking Thieves for major 1. Obviously, they're playing insane. The reason I'm thinking them for major 1 though is because they're the best hardpoint team in the game, and I think that matters a lot. I think they can clutch up on land and search. Beside the fact, though, obviously, I do think Ultra will be the 2022 world champions. But to my point, merch managers, social media managers out there, any CDL team, if you want me to wear your merch on the flank, just contact me at twitter.com/a. And we'll get that going. So keep that in mind. And, maybe I'll be thinking of you for stage 2.
I like
but back
that.
to the point.
So let's get back to the map. Yeah, good job by it was funny that you said Gersh. I said somehow Gersh is doing backflips somewhere because he loves Illy. It's weird too because Gersh loves Illy, and then Vowels is kind of like my YouTube guy, and he's pretty much my assistant at this point. Vowels just works for me, and he's the biggest OpTic Dashy fan. So I got a lot of OpTic fans in my camp. So they go crazy whenever OpTic gets a dub. But let's get into the next one. We got Atlanta FaZe going up against the New York Subliners. Pat, I'm gonna let you kick this one off. I'm gonna let.
This one pissed
Don't
me
worry
off.
about it, Pat. Go ahead, kick it off, Pat. Kick it off.
Yeah, go off.
So New York Subliners, you're like 0-50 in hardpoint, and you've been banning Berlin every single series almost. You decide to play Berlin versus FaZe, arguably one of the best teams in the game, if not the best currently, on a map you've never played, and somehow it looked like it was your best fucking hardpoint that you've played.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing in your veto?
You've been saying that.
Are you practicing the same maps? Like, I'm confused. Can scrim results be this different? I don't understand. You're 0-30 in hardpoint, and this is the first time playing Berlin, and you actually look pretty damn good on it until you like blew the end. But
I feel like it's a good mix for them. I feel like it's
Clay and Crimp. Run some autos. Let your subs get mixy. Berlin is the perfect map.
Yeah, it is good for them.
This roster and their old roster with Neptune, and they were vetoing it every time and playing Gavatu and shit. Hey, listen, it didn't make much sense to me, but yeah, that's just something I wanted to speak on.
Royalty didn't look too bad today. Royalty was making plays. I thought he
played well.
I thought some people were saying, yeah, you got to give Royalty more credit in this. I mean, we were always saying how Royalty was put into a bad situation. I mean, we constantly keep saying that. I definitely think Royalty today stepped up more than he has been, and he's probably just getting a little bit more comfortable now. It's never easy to be thrown into a team in the middle of the season. All the teams are ahead of the game. You're going through roster changes. It is hard.
That's hard. Yeah.
It's hard as fuck. It's listen, you get thrown into the mix and you're trying to do what you got to do and for the team, and you just don't know how the system is and how the system works. So, you know, it gets really, really difficult. So for Royalty,
Clay stepped it up too today.
Clay stepped it up, and you were talking about Hydra and Crim kind of shit the sheets a little bit today.
Which is a problem, right? Like if you're New York and you're playing really bad in hardpoint, and you know Clay or Neptune or Hydra or not Hydra, sorry, Royalty, those are the ones that are quote unquote underperforming, and you know Hydra and Crim are more consistent. You finally get those performances out of Clay and Royalty, but then Hydra and Crim don't play good. So honestly, it's kind of worrying even more so that they played good and they weren't able to get, you know, anything going. Granted, they were playing FaZe, who is probably the toughest team to play right now. But yeah, I just think this team struggles all around the board on all levels of all players, and especially in the consistency category. So
They almost had this first map, Pat. They almost had this first map.
They looked good on it, right?
Yeah.
And then they let them come back. That's why I was mind blown, because they actually looked good on this map, better than I had seen them on any hardpoint map so far. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll go to Ben. Ben, what do you think the problem was for FaZe on his first map? Do you think New York was just kicking up, or do you give this to a FaZe troll, Ben? What is this to you?
New York did a really good job on the P2s and the P3s. Even when FaZe got set up in the P3s, New York did a good job of breaking and making this close.
Yeah.
But I think FaZe kind of pulled away on this last P1. They did a really good job, and then New York had a chance here on this this P4 to get in the close spawns,
Jesus.
and they even got the fire spawns. They're just not able to really convert that into time.
Should we just say it now? Simp is hitting that form again. He's hitting it again. You see it.
It's terrifying for the rest of the league now that he's kind of performing this way, and I think we kind of see that too. I mean, they were 2-0, I believe, or 3-0 when he was playing really bad, and now he stepped up and they had two really big kind of dominant wins. So yeah, I mean, FaZe has probably got to be on top of the world and feeling super confident going into Major 1, and you saw him getting on Twitter talking a little bit of shit.
And the banter's always going. Him and Crim are going back and forth.
I think they're really confident. I think they're probably going to this event thinking it's their event to lose, and that's always a good feeling for any team.
I actually want to bring somebody in. He goes by the name of Mr. Doug Setzer Martin.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Dog, are you here?
I'm here, Tommy. How you doing
What's going on, Doggy? What's going on with your dog?
Yo, Doug, what happened last time? What happened last time? You flaked on us. You were talking to Tommy's cousin all night long.
Yeah, Doug, I thought you were going to poke me when you were ready. You never poked me.
No. First of all, I was talking to my girlfriend for like 2 hours. Then I talked to my team for like an hour. Then I talked to Tommy's cousin.
Whoa,
for like
run
an
it
hour.
back, girlfriend. What are you talking? I thought you were
Why
single.
you guys acting stupid? You guys acting like you don't know I have a girlfriend.
Wait, you're dating? You're dating?
I am.
No, you're not, Doug. No, you're not.
Wait a minute, Doug. You just were single like a week ago.
Wait, hold on a second. This is a Call of Duty talk show, isn't it?
No, not right now.
You're a special guest.
You're
so
a special guest.
topic.
You know, Doug, we got to talk about this.
So we got Atlanta FaZe versus New York Subliners building hardpoint. Looks like they broke P1 by flanking.
Is this a new relationship? Is this a new relationship?
Royalty took a deep pinch, but his team
we
died
know
on
what's
it, so
going on,
unfortunately
Doug.
they got
We've already
broken.
watched this map, Doug. So let us know. Is this a new?
So what are we? Map 2, Tuscan S&D. 1v1 Clayster versus Easy by Church.
Interesting.
Doug, I actually wanted to ask you. I saw your tweet about Celium. Well, if you want to kind of read out your tweet and kind of let everybody know why you tweeted that and kind of what your thought process is with that.
Yeah, so I tweeted out Celium is the most underrated superstar in Call of Duty history. He needs to get a lot more credit as the hardest player to kill in the history of the game.
Yeah, I think that's cap for sure. I think in the modern era, like ever since he started playing the BO4 era and on, I think you're absolutely right. He is one of the hardest kills on the map by a mile.
But MC would have crushed people in jetpacks, though. It's not good.
Well, then MC got banned in IW8 because they thought he was cheating.
Maps like that, like because he didn't play World War II. He literally didn't like the game. He stayed on IW.
We know we give him shit about that all the time. But any of the jetpack games, he would have.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a tough argument to have because there were a lot of talented jetpack players, and we never really got to see him aside from IW.
I do want to say something about this map though, because I want to talk about this off the start. Look at the route that Abizi takes off the break on this. Like I don't know if this is a pre-planned or not, but this might be the most disrespectful route I think I've ever seen on opening round on this map.
Let's take a look. If I had to guess about two of the hardest players to kill, would probably be MC and Shasi. I feel like those are like the two that are like the hardest to kill right now, in my personal opinion. I feel like
he's pretty hard when he doesn't throw his life away.
Then he's shooting bodies right there.
Oh yeah, I mean BZ and Simp. I mean, sure.
They almost lose his round though. And then to Doug's point, Cell gets a couple of big kills. I think MC right now, I believe, has got like a 2.68 in S&D KD through 5 series, which is wild. I'm sure that'll regress, but I think to your point right now, bro, he's so good at taking advantage of geometry on the map, whether it's a head glitch, whether it's movement, whether it's shoulders. He's just really good at not giving away his life in a lot of situations.
Okay. Enough from FaZe Ben. Let's talk about this Tuscan S&D though.
I'm down. Let's do it. Good route there off the rip. Definitely a good route.
I was hoping to see a lot more out of New York, personally. I don't know about you, Tommy. What do you think?
S&D? I wasn't expecting anything from New York today. They've looked terrible to me. Yeah, I wasn't.
S&D? That's all they've been winning.
Yeah, but they're playing a really good S&D team. I mean, we see a lot of teams. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think if they were gonna win anything, it was the S&D, and they didn't win it, and they ended up winning the control. But I thought this was gonna be a 3-0. I didn't think they were gonna take a map here, and maybe that's my FaZe bias coming in. It could be my bias. I just with the way things have been going, I just didn't think they were gonna win anything. But
I just think FaZe plays way too aggressive for New York, and S&D especially. Like New York kind of likes that pick style, unless you have those maps where Hydra just goes rogue and does his thing, which I'm actually really curious to kind of I wonder, right? Like, what's their game plan going into a map? Because Crim and Clay aren't playing that like mega aggressive go rogue style, right? Like that suits Hydra, doesn't really suit them. So like when they're playing maps like this, I mean, we see a lot of Crim getting first blood nades and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see how they're gonna kind of transition their style in S&D, because I think they do work the best, honestly, when they're just like, yo, Hydra, run, like go play like how these plays.
It's clear.
Yeah, Hydra, run.
It's clear if you watch this
no
map,
bullshit.
bro, like Tupac probably watched their VODs, and he's like, these guys basically just throw nades off the break, so let's just take field control, and they're not gonna be able to do anything on offense if we get a pick. I mean, bro, at this point, like, bro, with New York setup at this point, like, it's just chalked in the 4v3s. I would love, New York's got aggressive players. Would love to see them use speed. They've got speed ARs too. It's not like everybody's a post-up player on their team. I would like to see them mix it up more, break out some hard counters, break out a couple of set plays off the break, because I think they have the potential to be a good S&D team, but they got kind of wiped off the map.
But I feel like, Ben, to that point, I feel like if we're talking about them playing that style, and obviously I think Royalty's good, I think they would have benefited more with Neptune if that's the style they wanted to go with, right? If that's the approach that they were wanting to take for their strategy. I feel like it's that they wanted the opposite, and that's why they kind of don't have Neptune now and have Royalty.
Well, no, we'd have to ask the New York players what they think about that change. I thought it was more of a respawn change was in the thought process, not mostly around S&D.
I guess that opens up another question. Do you ever see a team having an S&D player and a respawn player? Because I feel like that would be kind of the case right now, is having that now.
I pitch that on the show for a while now, and I get shot then every time I bring it up. So
I mean, it's a tough combo to have, but I feel like New York's in a kind of a unique example where they're a very highly paid team. They got a lot of established players on their team, but they're super underperforming. And they have a player who is good, right? Neptune's not bad. He's just not the playing hardpoint how they want to play it. So yeah, I do think they would benefit more having that kind of style and someone that's like and just run beside Hydra.
I think there's going to be multiple changes from New York after the major. That's my hot take.
Everything's on the table for New York. The only team that's tried the 5-man thing was Seattle, but this is for year one. They were already pre-chalked. Like, I could see it with New York, because right now it's just nothing's clicking to respawn, and they're going to have to then void that by being a really good S&D team. And against FaZe, they went down 0-2, which is can't give them an 0-2 lead.
Well, let's ask the special guest, Mr. Doug Sensamara. What do you think is New York's biggest problem right now, Doug? And do you see any more changes coming through to New York, Doug?
Yeah, I think after the major, there's definitely going to be changes. I think the only way they don't make a change is if they get top 3.
I think it's a 2-person change.
I think they should do a 2-person change, personally.
Well, as an active player, it's hard for me to say like who I think should be dropped, who should be replaced.
Right. So don't say that. But do you think it should be 2 people, not just swapping that 4th player out?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a 2-person thing, unless if the team, like I said, like if they're going to start, what are they going to start? Dead last, losers bracket. So if they win one, they're top 10.
Well,
if they
have
win
you
another,
heard?
top 8.
No. Have you heard their schedule? They play the loser of Thieves or Ultra.
Yeah.
For top 10 or for top 8?
Right. For top 10, yeah. So
damn.
No, it's for top 8.
Or I guess top 8. Yeah, it's their loser 1. They play the loser of that match.
Jeez, that's not a good first
so
losers round 1.
They have a very realistic chance right now based on form to get top 12 at this event.
So they have to win 4 series to place top 3 then, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ben?
Something like that,
yeah.
It might be more. It might even be more.
No, I don't think so. I think it's
okay.
4.
So the way I see it, everyone on New York honestly is good. Like talent-wise, they're good. Obviously, as a team, they're underperforming. Certain players statistically are underperforming, but I don't have doubts in their talent, and I don't have doubts in any of their players being able to win. Like I haven't played with Clay and Crim, but I play with Matt. Hydra's been very consistent. I think they have the talent. They looked a lot better on LAN too than they did online, and I think that doesn't get talked about enough. Like on LAN, they were just spitting on people, and like they lost 3-1. I don't know who they lost 3-1 to, but I know they beat Rocker, I believe 3-0. They beat Boston 3-2, but they dominated that series. Like they were way better on LAN than they are on these online matches, and I think these online matches are like stressing out this team a lot, and I think that's making it even harder on them because of the pressure. So obviously playing either Thieves or Ultra round 1 of losers is not going to be easy, but I would not be surprised if this team could make a run. I also wouldn't be surprised if they did get dead last. I really don't know what to think about these guys.
Something you said, so you said you think it should be a 2-person change, right? And I think all of us right now can agree that Hydra is the safest player by a mile. Like he's not in that conversation.
New York even loves Hydra. I'm pretty sure it's their baby.
New York will keep Paco and then figure it out from there.
That begs the question then, if it is a 2-person change, then it's Crim or Clay, right?
The problem is there isn't.
It can't be Hydra.
There isn't a trade market for either of those players right now. Like,
but
that's a difficult
doesn't have to be a trade market, Ben.
They're gonna have to make a move and then have to wait. Yeah, but they're gonna have to then wait, and in order to move, like part of this is how do you also find a home for those guys? Because I don't think they're just gonna want to chill on the bench, and you can't drop boats. So like they've got to move someone off their books. It's just really hard because there isn't a market for them at the moment. There's not like other teams that are like gonna want to swap out main ARs. You know what I mean? So it's just a really tricky situation. Plus, I know they're probably on big contracts, so the mechanics of that are really difficult.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have heard.
Do you stay dead last?
I mean, this is the quandary they had because, bro, like I don't know how many times I gotta say on the show, like part of their problem right now is they don't have that good SMG pair who's a dirty work player, and they had that person on their roster last year, and they let him walk to LAG. If you had,
let's make sure we say names. You're talking about big Ace.
Yeah, if you had Ace on this team in routes, they'd be playing so much better right now, especially in respawn. But they have a huge hole they've tried to fill with players that haven't necessarily played that in the fast, like Neptune and Royalty aren't those types of players, and they're trying to play, it seems like a similar system there on top of the ARs being super inconsistent. It's just a recipe and why they're really, really struggling to respawn right now. But that being said, they do actually end up winning this control map.
Yeah, they win the control map, which
but defense,
and Crim had a map, and I feel like defense is pretty easy to win. You just keep holding your lanes,
especially versus FaZe, right? Like a team that's heavy sub based, like your heavy AR team almost with Cray and Clem, and Crim was frying. So yeah, this wasn't honestly that impressive. I think if FaZe had the defensive, they would have won it. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of, I don't know. It was obviously a good win, but it wasn't really an impressive win.
I just want to ask you, and Doug, you might notice, but have you guys ever heard of Real in EU Challengers?
Their coach?
Yeah. No, not
the player. The player.
Real. Have you heard of Real or Real? Yeah. I don't know exactly how to say his name.
I play with him like every week, Tom.
He got picked up by Rocker, didn't he?
Doug, is this guy insane? Is this guy like one of the best players ever?
I played against.
Well, I'm obviously dragging it, but you know what I mean. Is this guy really good?
I'll give you a good analogy here. So Johnny had some of the best elite stats in stage 1. He was probably like, I mean, obviously behind Colt Havoc, right? Because like Colt Havoc is just God.
Like, Colt in a LeBron series in finals, like
Colt is even in the elite, he had the best elite stats. Colt is God right now, but outside of him, like I was actually playing against him. So I was playing against God himself. It was God himself with Johnny. So Colt and Johnny were 2 of the best subs, right, in all the elite, statistically speaking, and they got first and second. I played against Johnny for $50 because he was my teammate at the time, and he wanted to play me for 50. So I said, okay. I played with Hamza, Vickle, and Real was playing on 150 ping from Spain at 6 a.m. That's how much this kid wants to win.
Wow.
He's out here playing NA8s at 6 a.m. on 150 ping. He had the most kills in the lobby on 150 ping, running a flex when he's a full-time sub. He was running our flex.
Impressive.
And he won me $50.
That is impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
That kid is great.
The only reason why I'm bringing this guy's name up is because Matt Cat tweeted out this Real kid is probably one of the best players I've ever seen on Vanguard, and Matt Cat's not a dummy.
I agree. No, I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the problem, Pat? What's the problem?
He is a signed player for the Minnesota Rocker.
Is he signed?
Yeah. So Minnesota Rocker picked up an academy team.
Yeah.
And they picked up his team with Journey and all those other guys. But so he's a contracted player. So obviously they wouldn't hold him. But there is a step, right, in that process now. If another team wants to sign him, he's not a free player to grab. They got to then go and.
Well, they could trade. They could theoretically trade. He could still team with the same players, but they could trade if they haven't signed to a contract. They could trade their contract though for cash.
Right. But that's my point. Is that there's an added step, right? He has to.
The other two questions.
True.
So one is obviously he would have to get a work visa to play, so that takes a minute.
That's obviously no. That's not that hard, right? Because look at Royalty. Royalty just got one very quickly.
He did get one really quickly. What exactly did he get though?
We were discussing this on the show, right? He had to have a visa to be able to live and compete in the U.S. So I'm assuming he got whatever he needed, and that
He's
was
probably had a history of having a P1.
He has.
Right?
He has. He's definitely had a history.
Renewals are.
Has he though?
Yeah.
A renewal petition's way easier than having to create a new petition.
Royalty's been in the States multiple times. He used to go to events all the time.
But the rules back then, you didn't require you to have a visa.
Well, they did, but people were, that was back in the day. People were just like,
Well, it worked a lot differently, and you weren't a W-2 employee. But
you're not exactly being truthful. But like the other question I have for
my point is, I don't think he did have one.
Wait, what language does Real speak?
That's about to ask. Is his English good? Like,
does he speak English, or where's he from? Do you know, Doug? Oh, he's Spanish. Oh,
he's from Spain. He definitely needs to work on his English. It's good enough, I would say, but he obviously is gonna have to learn. He's definitely gonna be starting in this league this year. I have no doubt in my mind about it. Whether it's on Rocker or another. Yeah, I mean, Tom, by far.
Right, so this guy's this guy's good.
I play. Yeah, like I think Johnny and Real. Like I played with Johnny. I played against him. Real.
Is it Real or Real?
I don't know.
Real.
I have no idea. Real. Oh, okay.
That dude Real is the truth. I literally said to him because I played like 4 series of 8s with him over a span of 3 weeks. He didn't go negative a single map on 150 ping, and he's running a flex half the time when he's a sub. I'm like, I literally DM'd him, and it was just like with Mac. Remember when we picked up Mac, Tom, on New York? Like I was the same with Mac. I was like, bro, like you're gross. Like show me your VOD. Like what's your MP5 class? Like blah 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 blah. And then bam, he's playing on New York a few months later. Same thing with Real. It's gonna happen.
The question then becomes, because obviously Minnesota Rocker are really struggling in respawn, and we're saying that this guy is one of the best respawn players. Maybe that's the move that goes down, and not so much them giving him away to
New York.
Team.
You're saying for New York or for Minnesota?
Rocker, for Rocker.
Oh, you're saying Rocker keep him?
They already have him. Yeah, they already have him, and they're obviously struggling in respawn very bad. If they have another underwhelming performance, we were kind of talking. Those guys case wise look off, and maybe that's a fix for them. So he might be kind of locked up in that team.
The issue is his asking. If I were Minnesota, I'm either keeping him, or if I'm trading him, trading right his contract right, the buy on that's going to be insane. Even though just on pure potential alone, and like the fact that he's so young, but it's like how chances work in a lot of sports, like that number's insane, and no one's going to pay it. So I think if he's going to be in this league at this point, it's going to be for Minnesota Rocker.
And they're struggling.
I mean, yeah, there's people in the chat saying I'm riding. Like, look, if someone's not good, I just won't say anything about them. But if someone's really good, you will definitely hear me talk about them. It's not dick
riding. People got a problem with everything these days. Your kid's good and you're giving them some good gas. You're giving them some kind words. People don't like kindness these days.
I asked for his VOD, Tom. Like, I don't know how the kid is that consistent. Like, I really try to be a consistent player every day, and I push myself. This guy's on 150 ping, just every map, just the best player in the lobby. Yeah. It's
I've just been, the reason why I brought him up is because not just because of Mad Cat's tweet, I just see his name a lot. A lot of people are talking about him, this and that, and I haven't seen any gameplay from him personally. So he's definitely somebody that I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm always looking at challengers stuff. I mean, even when I competed, I always looked at the amateurs because there's so much talent over there. So just to know that he's making noise, it just goes to show that if you're an amateur and you're putting in the work, Doug, you just said his kid's playing from Spain at 6 a.m. and 150 ping. Clearly, he's putting in the work, and he's a really talented player, and his name is starting to be talked about. And usually when that happens, Doug, you're right, they get picked up.
Now, there's a question I want to ask all of you guys right now. I just found out that General, Kismet, Havoc, and Brezzy just won the 2K by 3-0ing again. So this is a really important question I have because I'm a player who's older, and obviously everyone on General's team either have been in the league or have been around Call of Duty for a long time. If other players were to be 4-peating, like these guys, for example, Wester last year, you had Paul, Zap, Venom, immediately, bam, JCap signing Venom, 100 Thieves, bam, London signing Paul, bam, Zap's getting signed to London, going to Paris, right? Yeah. They're getting like their chance in the league.
You think it's the same? Is that your question?
What I'm saying is that are these guys going to be treated differently now? Because they just won 3-0. Yeah, they won 3-0 in the elite. Colt dropped to 2.0. Like, how do you think they're going to be treated?
We've talked about it. There is a very bad stigma with current, teams and rosters and even coaches, right, who were pro players who already know these guys, right? We competed against General, Kismet, Havoc, and I guess Brezzy, but yeah, I think they absolutely are looked at differently, and it's super unfair. Because nowadays, you know, the whole thing is, you know, we want the challenger superstars, the young kids. But obviously, General is already a sub on a team, so it kind of goes for the rest of them.
General's got to get his contract traded. Here's the
But
thing.
even then, do you see him getting picked up? Because I don't, because he's a main AR. So who's he replaced? Paris or?
So
that's it.
Last year there was like a run on players because there was a huge sort of like everybody wanted to make changes. No one wanted to be the last domino to fall. So everybody picked up all these players very quickly over the span of like 3 or 4 weeks. So that was the one thing that happened last year. Second is I can test because I think there's people see a lot of value. If I talk around the league, like people see a lot of value in Havoc. He's definitely been serviceable in the league. People are actually pretty high on Brezzy. And
yeah, people talk about him too.
People think that he needs another shot in the league. So I would contest with that team. I think those players might be there or thereabouts in the league here very shortly.
Yeah, like why isn't Havoc like I don't know, dude. The guy's dropping 1.95.
Havoc was on Florida. Havoc was on Florida. I don't know what exactly went down, but he was on a team.
He said, I want to leave. I know what he said. He said he wanted to leave Florida, move to Texas, grind, and get a starting spot in the league. The guy is literally on a 4-peat, 3-0 people in the league finals, 3-0 people in cup finals, dropping a 2.0.
His logic was he wanted to leave Florida to get back in the league, right? But he was already in the league.
I could confidently say, Pat, as a player who was a sub on New York and then like had the option.
Subs in year 1 and subs now are a little different.
Yeah, but I had the option to be the sub going into year 2, and I just said no. It's better for me to be in challengers
because you knew the experience. I mean, you knew the experience.
But after that, yeah, the first year experience being a sub in the league was terrible. But then year 2 and now year 3, being a sub in the league is a great thing. Like if I was Havoc, I definitely would have kept that sub spot on Florida, and he'd be getting subbed in right now with what he's doing. I mean, 2.0s.
Yeah. Especially after, you know, depending on how Florida do at Major 1, they're in the loser bracket, so they could potentially, you know, place 12th. It's possible. So yeah, that's kind of my point, Doug. Is I don't really agree with his thought process, and the only reason I say that is because there aren't many teams that he can really join, right? Paris is the one team who's struggling the most, but it's probably going to be the one team that doesn't make a roster change all year long. New York, obviously that occurred, but they went with royalty. I think Havoc could have possibly filled in there if that's what New York chose. They obviously went the other way. But I agree. I don't think the move was smart because the opportunity it's not there. You don't have 6 teams that are going to need people, especially when the league is as competitive as it is.
I just want to go back to that original point though. Like I do think, especially for that team, like obviously general situation is a little bit different because he's attached to a team already, but like the tailwinds right now is that a lot of people are evaluating that team and they really like what they're seeing from some of those players. I think Brezzy got kind of an unfair shake on that Paris team. I think Havoc was definitely serviceable last year as a player. Like I definitely think that those players in particular are going to get some looks for teams, especially around after this
Ben,
stage.
you're saying some looks, but throw out some names because I don't see that many rosters that will change. Obviously, there's New York.
Not after stage 1, but we'll see what happens.
Just in general, give me some ideas of teams, all right? Like just the organizations themselves. Like I don't see...
Minnesota's a roster right now. They got to figure out respawn, and that might require a roster.
They're a tricky one because they're obviously a good team. They can compete.
Paris is chalked. That's one that might need.
New York's really the only one I see.
New York's another one that might need to make a change. It's already 3, man. Everybody else is.
Wait, what do you mean it's already 3? How's it already 3?
Paris, New York.
No, Paris is chalked. They're not making changes, bro.
Paris made changes last year.
Dude, those were completely different changes.
But you're not disagreeing with me
they could. I mean,
they're going to make a roster change.
They can make changes.
Here's my thought process for why they won't. After last year and being the worst team in the league for now 3 years straight, I feel like they just chalk it. They just accept what they got, and that's it. That's been their attitude this whole time. They didn't make any moves in the offseason. They signed everyone to minimum contracts. They weren't serious about getting good talent. I don't see them making changes. I really don't. They're a pitiful organization.
That wasn't your question, though. It's like what teams theoretically should make changes.
No, that's not my question. My question isn't what teams should. My question is what teams will. The big difference of a combo.
Well, it's still early enough for Paris to make a change and still make champs. Like I wouldn't just sit and wait because I want to chalk it. Like their team definitely has issues right now. They are the one team in the league.
Their org
that doesn't have a real
out their games. You think they're gonna go and sign another player to a contract?
They did last year. They made moves.
Bro, they were tweeting out games last year.
All right, we're going in circles. We're going in circles.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck's changing this year, but a lot of teams are gonna change regardless, even if it doesn't look like teams might be changing now. Bro, in the middle of the year, in the middle of the year, people are gonna be changing. Period. Multiple teams are gonna be changing. There's gonna be a lot of
teams haven't signed a sub. That's the question.
A lot of teams haven't signed a sub. I mean, you got fucking coaches on people's benches, which is
that's crazy. But yeah, that's my biggest question is what teams haven't signed a sub. I think that'll be the start, right? I think talking about the Brezzy general team, those are the spots where I think they're almost guaranteed a sub spot.
Well, I like the academy. I like the academy thing by Minnesota Rocker. Listen, these high end teams have enough money to pick up academy teams, bro. It is what it is. You don't lock them up. Make an academy team and lock up some amateur players.
Swapped on now.
Wait, but Boston doesn't have a sub. I could easily see them picking up Havoc.
Yeah, they're another team that right now is a little bit of a valley, and
well, you got to think,
can they get themselves out?
You got to think Dins and Zed, or Dins mainly, has that kind of relationship with Brezzy from playing on Parish Year 1, so that could be a really realistic outcome. Do Boston make a roster change? Maybe, but I think Brezzy could definitely find a sub spot on that team.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hector said that he would love to, but there's no support or incentive to. No, I'm saying if you have a really bad team. Or you're on the lower tier team. Somebody in the chat, I guess Hector said on like an eavesdrop or something that he doesn't want to get a challengers team because there's really no incentive to it, which I kind of agree with. Like I understand that because New York Subliners had a challengers team, and I used to work with New York behind the scenes to talk about stuff like this, and they got nothing out of it. Every week the team wanted to change, and there was so many fucking team issues and this and that.
Have you seen?
But they called up timeout. They called up players from their challengers team to their starting roster last year, though.
Right. That's what. But they could have done. They could have done that. They could have done that without the challengers team.
Okay, so the OpTic situation is different because they don't pick up challengers players. If they were making moves, they were swinging for superstar players. So I get the point from Hector.
Well, also part of that was Clay quote unquote quitting on the team, right? Or having a mental health break or whatever it was.
Also when Tommy's situation went down, like his Hydra was on the academy team, no?
Well, he was a sub. Hydra was a sub. He wasn't on the academy team.
But was he supposed to play with the academy team?
The one player that came up from the academy team was Diamond Con.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
He was the guy who came up. And listen, I'm just saying they didn't need you don't need a challengers team to go on to challenges and pick up Diamond Con. Like you can pick up whoever the fuck you want. You don't need to have them locked onto your challengers team.
Was good. They won the elite.
No, they were good. They were good.
Well, I think Ben, the main topic here is is it worth it to have a challengers team if you are a pro team? That's kind of the point. And right now I would argue no. There's no support.
Yeah, maybe no support, but I definitely think some teams should be locking up some good substitute players. And
I agree with.
And I also brought up a clip from Real on the stream, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but I brought up a clip.
Who was he playing against?
No idea. I honestly I don't really care. I just wanted to see the way he moved, and it looked like Shotzi and Abizi had a baby.
That's what I was about to say. He has that smooth movement. Yeah,
it looked like Shotzi and Abizi had a baby. It's what it looked like.
But listen, hold on. I do want to say something though, because as we've been talking about all this roster stuff and the challenger stuff. Let's just take a moment to think about how fucking miserable it is to watch NYSL play a hardpoint, that we would rather discuss challengers and everything else going on than watch them get mollywopped by FaZe.
This wasn't like that lopsided. It's just
listen. NYSL's gotta get it together, Ben. What are they, 0-13?
They're 0-12, right? Or 0-11? What are they? What are they actually? They're 0-12, I think. I think they're 0-12 or 0-11.
They haven't played 12 hardpoint maps.
No, they're definitely they're double digits for sure. They're 0-11 or 0. They're around there.
Chat's saying 0-9.
One guy said 0-9. One guy.
Yeah, chat. Give us more. But
if somebody can get us the actual statistic, I'm pretty sure they're.
It's 0-9. I'm looking at it right now.
It's 0-9. Okay, then they're 0-9. And you were right. But they're whatever. They're close. They're close to 0-11.
Paris actually is.
But is that? Like, that's bad enough to where like they gotta start getting roasted at this point, right? Not in roasted, but I mean, like no. I don't think it's justified. Do you remember when my EG team went like 0-10 in a stage and just searching a Shoy?
Yeah, I was sitting next to Bubbles in the green room and he was losing floor every day.
There was literally segments from the analyst desk talking about it. Like, bro, this is Clay and Crim. These guys are on like $300,000 contracts and they're 0-9 in hardpoint.
Dude,
yeah, 0-9.
It's hardpoint.
You got, dude. I would sit next to Bevels. Me, Marcus, Tally would sit next to Bevels, and bro, he was going through it, watching you guys get in great situations.
I don't give a fuck what we were doing, because you know what? 2018 World War II World Champions. Shout out to Neighbor for making sure I deposited 150K instead of 50K. Ian, I thank you so much for that. I'll see you on the reverse sweep. But yeah, listen. Bottom line is, us starting that bad, whatever. We were throwing away some rounds, but this is getting mollywopped in hardpoint when you were 2 of the top 3 Call of Duty players of all time. It's a different combo, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think also Clay and Crim, outside of Modern Warfare, the record against Simp and Abizi isn't that great. There's a lot of bad blood.
Ben, they're 0-9.
It's not just FaZe. It's not
I'm
just
speaking of
FaZe.
this specific matchup. Look, overall in Respawn right now, if I'm OpTic, like, or sorry, if I'm New York, like a lot of stuff's on the table right now. Like, do you maybe think about trying out like running Crim or Clay running a sub and like swapping people around? Like,
What? What did you say? Run it back a little bit.
I'm dead serious.
Let me get a lin in the chat.
Dead serious.
Clay and Crim running the
Clay on a
sub.
sub. How can you have Clay on a sub? Are you fucking crazy?
What do you want them to do, man?
I want New York. The motherfucking New York
Bro, try
subliners.
experimenting. You got nothing to lose at this point.
I want New York to pick up the phone and call up every franchise and be like, yo, I will buy your superstar player. Let me know. Blank check. I suck. That's what I want New York to do.
Y'all let me
Fuck
in the
them
chat.
picks.
Hold on.
Trade the picks. Trade whatever you got and get another
One
superstar.
at a time. Let Pat get it out, Ben. Let Pat get it out. Okay, Ben, go ahead. Ben, go ahead.
Y'all letting me in the chat. Let's not act like Crim was like the OG
But listen, let Ben have the floor, Pat. Let him have the floor, Ben. Explain everything you need to explain.
First off, let's not act like Crim historically, now not recently, but historically has been a pretty solid flex player. Okay, let's not throw any disrespect on his name. And Clay has run a sub in the past, although like
when is Clay run a sub?
Not to much success.
Yeah, the duck soup in World War II. The duck soup. Remember that? The fucking World War II. What was that? The PPSH. The duck. I forgot. I think it was called duck soup.
But here's
Some
the
shit
thing,
like that.
bro. You're 0-9 in hardpoint. You got a week and a half to practice. They're gonna have a tough first matchup. You got to use this next couple of scrim days and experiment and see if you can find some kind of lineup or some way for it to make it work. Because right now, whatever you've been doing for like a month and a half is clearly not working. That's what I'm saying. You have nothing to lose at this point. You might as well try shit out.
Yeah, so you're kind of So you're kind of Ben. You're kind of just on the you're kind of just on the try whatever the fuck at this point because nothing. Like a fucking type of point. Pat's on. I think Pat's trying to get to the point where why say fuck it when you can just go out and get good play, like just get somebody.
They're not going to make a transaction in 1 week.
My thing has been is the longer the year goes on, the more talent they lose out on because talent's gonna get hired, right? Like people are gonna get signed the longer the year goes on. So I think they need to be proactive, and the longer they wait, it's gonna be worse for them. In when it comes down to the end of the season,
they're a team. First off, it's gonna be hard for them to make a transaction this week and next. But yes, I agree with you. After this major, they're gonna be the first team that is picking up the phone trying to make moves. At least at this current.
And you don't
pace,
think they have trade value, right? So that it's. Strictly...
I think it's not necessarily don't have trade value. It's that there isn't a market right now for those players. There's a big difference between the two.
I would argue there's a market for Crim. Maybe not Clay because he's main AR.
Who's replacing a role or needs Crim on their team right now? Again, he's got value. He's the all-time winningest player and probably the GOAT all-time. But bro, there's not a market right now.
If I'm Florida, I would consider Crim. If I'm Boston, I would consider.
Who you dropping on Florida? You're trading Skies or Day back?
Yeah.
But how does that? If I'm New York, how does that solve my problem?
Maybe not Skies, but
if I'm New York, how does that solve my problem though?
Well, I'm not saying that specific player. I'm just saying in general, I think there is a market for Crim, and it kind of is about exploring to see if they can find somebody on other teams that would work in that system. But yeah, I agree. I don't think there's much value for Clay right now because he's approaching retirement and he's a main AR. So yeah, value-wise on a trade market, I don't see much value for him.
They have trade value. Here's what I'll say though. One is I have no idea if they have a no trade clause in their contract.
You also have Neptune. You also have Neptune. I would say Neptune has a little bit of trade value.
He's got value for sure. If
Neptune's good. Neptune's good.
Yeah.
Clay also played good today, by the way. I mean, not to just completely trash Clay. I mean, he played good today. He still has moments where he looks good.
Yeah,
I just don't. He's just not
have trade value. I wasn't saying he's bad.
Yeah. He just doesn't. He can't run a sub. Ben, he's been running an AR for a decade now. I mean, there's been times where he's brought out the sub to fuck around and troll and do whatever.
Especially they tried it for a sec on United, but I mean, bro, at this point, like you've got nothing to lose. Like you're on path to top 12.
You guys gotta relax, man. You're talking about a 3-time world champ.
Here we go. Here comes Doug. Here comes Doug.
Doug, that's the problem. We are talking about a 3-time world champs.
Yeah, too.
Where they're 0-9 in hardpoint and they're looking terrible.
In online, Pat, remember us online? We used to get dunked on by OpTic. They used to dunk on us, dude. And then we laughed at them on land.
If you go back to some of the original flanks, I will be the one. You can find it. I was very high on NYSL after the kickoff. I thought they played very well. Obviously, it was on land, but I was high on them. And then we got into the tier system and some of these early matches, and it was like, well, damn, I looked dumb because they're so bad online. But at this point, I don't think they can. That argument can't be said. And the reason, Doug, is because they're gonna go to LAN and they'll be in losers 1 to play one of the top 4 teams in the game. And when you're as bad as you are, if you're playing Thieves or Ultra, even if it's on LAN, there's not much hope for you.
Okay, so what did they come out and win?
Then that's one of the best regains.
Hey, Pat's getting a tattoo on his ass.
I would be
then Pat's getting a tattoo on his asshole.
I'm moving the conversation.
Yeah, let's head it over. Let's head it over to the bracket.
The qualifiers are done. Let's take a look at the bracket.
Yep.
This actually, by the way, with this format right now, bro, this top 8 is actually wild. And I will go as far as to say, if we look at the day 1 schedule in a sec, it might be one of the best day 1 schedules we've ever seen in the history of major tournaments. Right. It's actually insane how good some of these games are. But what are your guys' initial thoughts?
I'm gonna fire off my predictions. I'm gonna fire them off.
Yeah. I'm going this winter bracket.
I'm going Atlanta, FaZe, OpTic, Texas. What do I do here?
Ravens, bro. Come on.
All right, Ravens and
this is the toughest one.
Yeah, this one's tough. This one's tough.
What point for the last one? Even though Toronto's not playing super well right now, I think that's a super coin toss series.
I'm gonna go Toronto on this one. I'm gonna go Toronto on that one. I'm gonna go FaZe, OpTic, London, Toronto. We'll go that.
Here's what I'll say. Actually, here's one of my biggest takeaways on this. I think sneakily LAG could kind of go on a little bit of a run here. I really liked them in that London matchup because of LAG's play style. And I think they stack up well against a Thieves or a Toronto. So they're my team that might be a surprise one making it to winners.
So what I'm going to say here, and Ben, you kind of got to think about this. Yeah. Gorillas aren't that good at control, okay? And Ravens are the higher seed. So it's probably going to be a Tuscan control, which I think favors the Ravens. And then for me in this particular series, this is going to be about Ravens' performance, right? If their performance doesn't fall off much from online, then I think they'll take this series. I think they're a better search team than the Gorillas, and I think they can slay in hardpoint. But the thing is, for Gorillas to win this series, they're going to have to definitely win both hardpoints and somehow steal an S&D, because I don't think they'll win that Tuscan control against them. And it just comes down to S&D. We saw, Ravens didn't look that good on Berlin today versus a very good search and destroy team in Seattle. But yeah, this series is kind of going to be probably the best one to watch because it's going to tell us a lot about both of these teams. But I'm gonna go Ravens. I don't know how they'll get it done, but I think they will get it done. I think Tommy, you're pretty much on point. I think FaZe and OpTic are almost a lock, especially given how Seattle's been playing the last
to get FaZe OpTic
couple of days. Yeah, that's going to be nuts. Yeah, I hope there's a Bocage in that series.
Saturday night banger right there.
And then the Thieves versus Ultra, man. This is the hardest match to predict because both these teams are top 4 to me right now, and they're both really fucking good. I don't really know how to say it, right? If Thieves keep up this hardpoint streak where they look almost dominant in hardpoint, this is going to be a tough series for the Ultra. It's going to be a good rematch, right, from their kickoff game where, and Tommy, you're kind of talking about this, arguably Thieves should have won that game 4 and they should have took that series 3-1 and been in the finals at the kickoff. So I'm going to think that Thieves are going to take this. Like I said, I am thinking Thieves for Major 1, but yeah, you said it's going to be a good run for the Gorillas. I think it's going to be a good run for the Thieves. I think the Thieves
the bottom side of this winners bracket
easily see themselves in a winner final here.
Bro,
well, I think Thieves match up against Gorillas or Ravens, right?
I think a good case for all 4 of those teams in the bottom side of that bracket. They all have a good win condition, and it's a really tough stack. Whereas at the top, I would have thought differently based on Seattle recently. Now I don't really like chances against OpTic, and Boston's got obviously a tough matchup against FaZe.
I have a hot take.
Here we go.
I'll say Serge is going to be
New York Subliners are getting top 6 this major. You heard it here first.
How are they getting the top 6?
Wait, you think they're winning versus Thieves or Ultra?
Yep.
We'll see.
Wait, hold on. You think either or they win?
I think they're gonna win either of them, and then I think they're gonna play Rocker and they're gonna beat them and get top 6 and then lose.
No, hold on. Let's just hypothetically say that Ultra beat Thieves. How in the fuck is a team who is 0-9 in hardpoint gonna beat a team that is 8-1 in hardpoint? And you think they're gonna
how is a team that goes 0-30 in S&D win champs, Pat?
Wait,
I mean, you did that.
That's true.
Wait, hold on.
That's true.
We went like 11
like
or
12.
something. But we were a dominant respawn team. Dominant,
You got his ass, Doug. You got his ass.
Undefeated on Gibraltar, by the way. But listen, Ben, you got to correct me here. Who's gonna have the higher seed, right? It's gonna be Thieves if they've dropped down, correct? Or is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So they'll have the higher seed, which means they'll get to be able to pick not only map 1 but that control map, which is we're learning is becoming super fucking important in a series. I just think this is all odds against subliners. Like, I don't. If the whoever set the line for this bet has got to have subliners at like plus 10,000.
Yeah, that's why you play Crim and Cray the big bucks, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
They've been paying them the big bucks. Their salary's been coming in twice a month now for 5 months, and they're 0-9 in hardpoint.
How did they look a month ago on land, Pat?
They look good. They look
bad.
They looked okay, but it was at the fucking kickoff classic where teams are literally tweeting out that we don't even care that we lost. I can't take we can't put too much fucking weight in that.
I believe in Crim and Clay.
I do too. I do too.
No, I like the
NYSL.
This guy's trying to get the sub spot.
No way. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
I'll say I'm gonna pull up the schedule. We can
Wait, Ben, are you gonna be joining us on any flanks during a major since it's a live event? Or are you gonna be busy?
I don't know. We'll see what I'm doing on site.
Because whatever. If you can't, dog, you want to come on with Parasite? We'll do maybe like a 4-cam. We're gonna overlay maybe a little 4-cam.
That's a good vibey squad right there.
Yeah, I feel it'd be pretty vibey if you want, dog.
Ben, when you do it at the event, do you have like a setup?
Well, the problem is I'm working the show and then I won't be able to get over.
That's what I meant. Do you have like a hotel setup?
I could bring a hotel setup. I just don't know. Like, I might only be able to come like at the tail end of the show. You know what I mean?
Well, Ben, here's the thing, Ben. Is I'd rather delay the show an hour or so, whenever, and do the show whenever you can get back, than to not do a show without you.
I would recommend you don't do that because these are long days and you're going to be doing the show.
Wait, hold on though. I do, and Tom, you know this. Delaying on Friday is a good thing for me. So if we did want to do at least the Friday one a bit delayed.
There's 4 matches on Friday. You're valid. So
when do they start though?
The normal time. So it's gonna go at least 6 hours.
Damn.
Oh, why we start normal times on events?
Yeah, damn, dude. Those are gonna be long days.
Yeah, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be like 10 p.m. before we start the flank.
Long days. Well,
listen, it's a 12-team bracket. There's a lot of matches you got to get through. The days are gonna be pretty long. There's gonna be a lot to talk about.
My thing is, why are we starting so late? Why don't you bump it up an hour for the tournament?
Well, no one's gonna be in the stands if you go earlier. But I mean, to your point, I would.
No one's gonna be in the stands at 2 p.m.
on Thursday.
Wait, it starts on Thursday now?
Yeah, it starts on Thursday.
Oh, I didn't know. Whoa, we got Thursday flanks?
Yeah, Thursday flanks, I guess.
Well, it's good that I guess then it's gonna be 4 matches. So I didn't know it starts that early or starting on a Thursday. Makes sense.
Yeah, but then like Saturday and Sunday there won't be a lot of matches, right, Ben? Like there's not a lot on Sunday, probably.
Bro, there's gonna be a lot of matches at this event, guys. Be prepared for a lot.
Well, what about Sunday? What's the schedule like on Sunday, Ben? Because I swear to God, if it's the grand finals on Sunday, I'm throwing a fit because that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
No, let me go on the website and check.
If it is that stupid ass,
somebody sent in the chat.
Sunday.
I mean, I feel bad for the EU fans, dude. I feel like they're not gonna be able to watch like until the next day. They're gonna have to go back and watch it unless they stay up.
Talk to us about that. Why are you so against the EU? Supporting the EU fans?
So there's 4 matches on Sunday. So I will say an improvement from last year because Tom, you and I used to complain about this all the time on the show. Winners finals is on Sunday now.
Okay.
It's not on Saturday. That team doesn't get iced anymore.
So how many games are on? So 4 on Thursday, 4 on Sunday, and how many are on Friday and Saturday? 4
on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the website. Looks like
4, 4, 6,
3, 4, 5 on Saturday.
Or 5. 4, 4, 5, 4.
Damn! What the?
It's 4, 5, 5 actually.
And every match will be on stream, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know what too? I think during those episodes, during the weekend chat, we're gonna pinpoint certain things at each map, but we're not gonna skim through maps. You know, we're gonna we'll write down the turning point of each map, and we'll go back to that turning point and talk about it, and we'll go through map by map.
Talk about the series as a whole.
Yeah, the series as a whole, and I know people are already gonna be in the comments and say, hey, they're not talking about anything, this and that, but there's gonna be a lot of matches, guys. So just keep that in mind.
But they're gonna like and watch it anyway, Tom.
Yeah, they'll watch. I mean, we'll have a good time regardless. We're gonna break down the key points of all the maps and still do what we do.
I actually gotta bring this up. People gotta get better at smashing the like button on the flanks. The view to like ratio is low.
Even the view to sub ratio is low. Nobody's subbing, man.
Yeah. Listen. People in the chat, and I know people watching on Anchor.fm and watching on from the YouTube. Let's make sure we smashing the fuck out the like button. There should not be a world where we're getting 40, 50, 60,000 views, but the like button's only getting like 1,000, 2,000.
Hey, what's up with that, guys?
I want to see 5,000 likes.
I like
minimum
that. I like
on
that.
Every episode of the flank, and I want to see Tommy hit. Where you at? 80. Where you at?
82.8.
I want to see Tommy at 100,000 subscribers before we get into the major 2.
I like that, yeah, baby.
Smash the fuck out the like button and subscribe to the motherfucking channel.
Hell yeah. But honestly, on a side note, we really do appreciate our love. You guys have been really enjoying the shows, and we've been enjoying doing them. I think we got a good thing going on right now. I think these shows have been better than ever. So we've been having a good time. Pat, you been having a good time? You like being on the show?
Great time, Tomas.
Hell
I got a new
yeah,
mic
Pat.
today, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah. You sound good. You sound like $1 million, Pat.
Appreciate you.
You know? And then, of course, Ben and Doug, thank you for joining us. What is this? These are the matches? What these are the times? We got 3, 4. Yeah, it's starting at the same time. We already did our predictions for this, so we're good to go. But we can close it out. Hey, Doug, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, Dougie.
Always a pleasure. You know, we got to get a little bit warmed up because Pat and I got our little podcast thing going on. I love talking COD. I love seeing you guys. And
yeah, the reverse sweep, man. I see. I was actually gonna do the reverse sweep, but with this going on, and plus my stream, and it's a lot. It's a lot going on. So I just I told Mike, I don't know if I could do this. Ben, they want to see a pup before we head out. What do you think, buddy? You want to hit one for us real quick?
I hit one, but I'm super hungry, so I'm probably gonna whiff this. But it's all good.
Nah, he's making excuses. Oh, what are people gonna do now?
Hungry?
What are people gonna do now with their predictions?
Ben, make sure you don't crop the. Okay, yeah. Make sure you start from the back.
Tom's got to make sure he doesn't F up the scene. I'm fitting in the
What?
whole.
Ben, you literally had a 2-foot fucking handicap.
I got your whole window. Your whole window is there.
Start at the back.
All right, I'll puff from the back, man. Sheesh.
Yes, it's yo Tom. He was cheating you for years.
He was cheating me, bro. No way! This motherfucker! Hey, Ben, you better sink this shit all the way back. Oh, man. He's got the slippers on again. I never know what's going to happen with the slippers on.
All right, let's see if he is. I'm going wide left. Wide left.
All right, I got wide right. Oh, he's striking. Does he sink it? He sinks it. That was nice and smooth. Wow, that was smooth as butter.
That was right down the line.
Is that fucking Ben Woods? Who the fuck is this guy? Ben, nice and smooth out of you. He said cash.
Came back and said cash. Wow.
Definitely played too much of Rambo Ray. That's his gimmick. The cash gimmick.
This guy sat down and said cash. All right, we're fucking out of here on that note. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, go to anchor.fm/theflank to check out all the audio sites are on. Go to @theflank on Twitter. Go check Gershau. He's doing a phenomenal job. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Brush your hair. Next time we'll see you, we'll probably be on Thursday after the matches for the major. For the flank, obviously, I'm going to be live all fucking week. But for the flank, that'll probably be Thursday. So we'll see you guys then. Take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of The Flank.
Have a good day.